Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the Nika Fanfics. Back with amazing fanfiction. This is the series of What if Landlord Deku had gamer Quirk? Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Quest, gain a property. Izuku squints at the floating text pane. It doesn't go away. He pokes at it and it moves slightly before bouncing back. This could be the result of an illusion quirk, but he's alone in his bedroom and none of his classmates are dedicated enough to tormenting him to get someone to do this. Which means either it's real or he's hallucinating. He pokes the text pane again, watching it bounce back in mild fascination. After poking it a few more times, he gets up and finds his mom. Hey, Mom? I think I got a quirk. It wants me to gain a property. Can we afford a cheap property? Inko blinks at him several times before smiling. You think, huh? I'm so happy for you, honey. Let's see what your dad says. They have to wait until early the next morning to explain it to his dad. His dad seems more curious than anything. Have you tried seeing if you can show the screen to others? His dad asks. No. Well, why don't you try that? Can you make it so others can see you? He asks the still there text pane. It flickers and turns bright pink in response. Strange response. Oh, it worked. His mom exclaims. I can see it too, although I can't read it. Hisashi adds. I think it's safe to say you really have a quirk. We should have known that old buzzard was a quack. Well, then, I don't see why not. Does it say what kind of property it needs to be? It just says, property, Hisashi. Inko answers for him. Alright. That's promising. Can you help him find the cheapest property available, Inko? Of course, dear. And I can have it put in his name, too. It shouldn't be that hard. Hisashi claps his hands together. Excellent. Use the luxuries account, Inko, there should be plenty in that. If there's not, I'll use a bit of the vacations account as well. And that's that? Inko hires a realtor to show them the cheapest available properties. Most of them are awful. They are looking at the latest option of awful, a medium-sized property with a derelict warehouse covering most of it in the red light district, when the no longer in guest mode text pane changes. Quest, buy this property. Why? He just wants to know why. Hey, Mom. My quirk wants this property. This one? Inko looks surprised, then huffs. Well, it's about time. We'll take this property. She tells the realtor. The realtor, who has been doing their level best to inject enthusiasm about the derelict properties she's shown them, but looks like she might actually have a migraine, looks pleased. Once all the paperwork is done and the transaction completed, the text pane changes again. Quest complete. Accept rewards? Yes, accept. Quest rewards. +1 level. +1 WIS. +1 STP, stat point. See stats? See stats. Izuku Midoriya. Quirk, the landlord. Level 0 +1 quest reward. STR 9. Dex 12. Vit 30. Int 36. WIS 34 +1 quest reward. MP 70 70ths +1. STA 17 of 21. HP 30 of 30. STP 1. Add stat point to strength. He says after a moment's consideration. Izuku Midoriya. Quirk, the landlord. Level 1. STR 10. Dex 12. Vit 30. Int 36. WIS 35. MP 71 of 71. STA 17 of 22. HP 30 of 30. STP 0. Strength must be a source stat for stamina. He wonders if Dex is too. Okay, I'm done looking. The screen closes and is promptly replaced with another one. Player overview. Stats. Skills. Inventory. Go to skills. Skills. Construction level 1. Demolition level 1. Salvage level 1. Crafting level 1. Assessment level 17. Improve skills by using them. To employ skills state use, name of skill. Gain skills by learning new things. Cool. Although it looks like his quirk wants him to learn the construction industry. Which isn't bad. But he wants to be a hero. Another pane pops up. Quest, demolish derelict building on property and salvage what's reusable. Clear property of rubbish. Skills may be used to do this. Okay then. Mom, can we go see my property? Sure, honey. He stares at the rambling, derelict warehouse and then tentatively says, use demolition. The warehouse shutters and then is collapsed on the ground without any in-between falling going on. What next? He looks at the quest pane. Oh, salvage. A moment later, there's a neat pile of boards and windows next to the rubble, each tidily stacked according to size and shape. Use inventory? What? Go to inventory. Inventory. Items will be stacked according to type. Oh. Store salvage. The piles of windows and boards disappears and 2 floating boxes show up under inventory, labeled salvaged wood and salvaged windows. Nice. Now what does he do with the rest of it? Store rubbish. The rubble disappears and more boxes appear. Ruined wood, broken window glass, ruined roof tiles, ruined doors. Quest complete. Quest, build an apartment building. Go to construction to find available recipes. Go to construction. Skill, construction. 1-story SM house. 2-story SM house. SM warehouse. Med warehouse. Large warehouse. 1-story apartment building. 2-story apartment building. 3-story apartment building. Well, he might as well go for the 3-story one. Use construction, 3-story apartment building recipe. A hologram of a 3-story building covering the property appears. Use stored materials? Yes, no. Using stored materials will reduce STA drain. Yes. He doesn't have any other use for them that he knows of, and stamina drain sounds bad. The hologram shimmers, the boxes in his inventory disappear, and a moment later a neat 3-story apartment with a bit of a traditional Japanese look to it appears to replace the hologram. Also, he's so tired that he's going to pee. He wakes up in his bed, still feeling tired. Quest complete. Accept rewards? Yes, no. Quest complete. Accept rewards? Yes, no. Yes and yes. Quest rewards. +1 level. +1 skill level in demolition. +1 skill level in salvage. +1 STP. Quest rewards. +1 level. +1 WIS. +3 skill level in construction. +1 construction recipe. +2 STP. Add stat points to strength. Go to stats. Izuku Midoriya. Quirk, the landlord. Level 3. STR 13. Dex 12. Vit 30. Int 36. WIS 36. MP 3 of 72. STA 6 of 25. HP 30 of 30. STP 0. Wow, no wonder he's still tired. Go to inventory. Inventory. Empty. Go to skills. Skills. Construction level 4. Demolition level 2. Salvage level 2. Crafting level 1. Assessment level 17. Improve skills by using them. To employ skills state use, name of skill. Gain skills by learning new things. Go to construction. Skill, construction. 1-story SM house. 2-story SM house. 1-story med house, new. SM warehouse. Med warehouse. Large warehouse. 1-story apartment building. 2-story apartment building. 3-story apartment building. Ah, so that's what he got. Nice. Not that he knows what to do with his new apartment building. Maybe he should ask Mom about that. Close. The pain disappears. Nice. He'd been wondering how to do that. He gets up and finds her in the kitchen, cooking katsudon. Hey, Mom. She drops her knife. Izuku, you scared me when you passed out like that. What were you thinking? So that's what happened. I guess I overdid it by using the biggest building recipe. Mom, what should I do with that building? Well, it looked like an apartment building, so you could rent out the rooms. Inko muses, calmer now. I'm sure I can find some basic contracts online and alter one to suit your purposes. He wonders if he can even get renters, what with a BRTHL on one side and a bar on the other. Okay. Maybe I should make the rent cheap? That's a good idea, considering the area it's in. Inko nods. You could maybe offer one of them a cut in rent too, to manage the building for you. I really don't want you spending a lot of time in that area. You could get hurt. Thanks, Mom. Yeah, I'll do that. I won't have time to manage it with school. Especially after I get into UA. Quest, furnish the apartment building. Oh. Hey, Mom? My Quirk wants me to furnish the apartments. Inko looks exasperated. Of course it does. In the end, they go shopping, because he has no materials in his inventory and he doesn't want to know the mana and stamina costs of creating things out of thin air. Also, he doesn't have any recipes for what he needs. He checked. At least the furniture company was willing to deliver and set up the beds, given how much they bought. Furnishing 20 apartments was no joke. Mom and Dad both reassured him that it was okay that this finished wiping out the funds in the luxury account and took half of the vacation account as well. But, well, it bothered him. He planned to pay them back as soon as possible, since they both insisted that the rents go to him since it's technically his property. Quest completed. Accept rewards? Yes, no. Yes. Quest rewards. +1 level. +2 WIS. +1 STP. Add stat point to vitality. He definitely needs more stamina if his quirk is going to keep this up, and he's pretty sure that vitality is its source stat. See stats. Izuku Midoriya. Quirk, the Landlord. Level 4. STR 13. Dex 12. Vit 31. Int 37. Whiz 38. MP 3 of 75. STA 6 of 25. HP 31 of 31. STP 0. It's nice being right. Though he doesn't know why his INT went up too. No, wait. That's hit points, not stamina. Stamina must be strength plus dexterity. Grr. Oh well, hit points aren't a bad thing to have more of for a future hero. He maybe should have expected the first person to check out his rooms for rent sign to be a prostitute still wearing traces of heavy makeup. I'm not going to lie to you, kid. I'm a prostitute. I work next door and I'm sick to death of living there. You still willing to rent to me? Yeah. I ask that you don't bring clients here, though. Wouldn't want to anyways. Clients are the worst. How much is it? He tells her and she winces, but pulls out a wallet from somewhere. I could offer you a discount if you're willing to be my manager for the building. He says impulsively. How much of a discount are we talking? Half? You got a deal, kid. She pulls money out, counts it out and slaps it down on his desk. There. First 2 months rent. I'll make sure you get your money and keep the losers in line so they don't wreck your place. Is this place furnished? Sort of. Each apartment has a twin bed and a table and 2 chairs. That's all we could afford. Awesome possum. Now write in the changes and let me sign that contract. While Ie Nakamura goes off to start moving her things in, he gets his next 2 clients. The bartender and the owner of the bar next door. Both of them look pleasantly surprised at how nice the apartments are and at the low price. They both mention that it's a little more than they're currently paying, but definitely worth it, plus the location works better for them. Ie comes back with 2 more women, who both inquire about renting, which he's happy to say yes to. They don't even wince at the price, so Ie probably warned them. 3 more vaguely hungover men come by a bit later and sign contracts. Then a guy with slicked back hair and a self-important air parks out front and comes in trying to rent a room for a night. Use assess? Yes, no. Yes. He mutters very quietly. Boten Watanabe. Level 36. Yakuza. Quirk, strong arm. Belligerent. Handle with care. Recommend not caving to his demands. Great. Wow, thanks, Quirk. So much help. Sir. 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 Boten stops talking. Yes? This is not a hotel. If you want to sign a 3-month contract, that's fine, as long as you don't harass or bother the other residents. The man's face goes scarily blank for a long minute, then he laughs. Okay, kid. I like you. I'll sign a 3-month contract. After that scare, he only gets 1 more renter. A nervous-looking lady who cleans for a living. Ie tells him not to come back tomorrow, because she can handle prospective renters without him. He agrees, but mostly because he knows his mom will worry if he's here. He kind of forgot about school? His mom had called in and excused him, but he'd still been absent 4 separate days. And now he's facing an irritated Kaken. Where were you? Arranging things for my quirk. The heck? Kaken squints. You bought a quirk? And no. It wanted me to buy some land. It's kind of like a video game, but focused on property. Kaken huffs. Still useless to heroics. Yeah, kinda. He scowls and walks away, leaving Izuku wondering what just happened. Kaken didn't even threaten him. His quirk hasn't given him any quests lately. It's kinda boring? So he checks out the crafting skill. It has a few recipes, but they require actual materials. Which he can't afford. He sighs and abandons that idea. Then, somehow, he ends up at Dagoba Beach and it occurs to him. Hey, he has an inventory and all this is free materials. He ends up cleaning half the beach that way before he runs out of MP and his STA gets low enough that he has to sit for a while before heading home. Overall, he is pleased. Now he can craft. UA's exam is robots. Robots. The good news is that he can stick them in his inventory. The bad news is that everybody is getting to them sooner than he is and he only has like 5 total. The really bad news is that he's almost out of time and a booming crash JRKs his head around and there's a massive robot taller than the buildings and, wow, he doesn't think that will fit in his inventory. Examinees start streaming back towards the start gate and he's about to follow them when he hears something. He pauses. Help. Is that someone calling for help? He looks around and finally spots a figure trapped by some rubble and directly in the path of the massive robot that has to be the 0-pointer. Izuku's feet are moving before he knows it. Turns out the person who's trapped is the nice girl who saved him from tripping before the exam. Are you okay? Yeah, but I can't reach to touch the concrete. I've used my quirk too much. Oh, that's store broken concrete. Just like that, she's free and he helps her up and lends her his shoulder because her ankle is hurt. Unfortunately, the 0-pointer is moving faster than they are. He's not strong enough to pick her up and run, so he just does the best he can. It's not enough. The 0-pointer is almost ready to step on them when he takes a gamble, turns a little to see it and says, "Store giant robot." To his astonishment, the 0-pointer flickers and then disappears. It worked. Why is his vision going dark? He wakes up on a rather hard bed and finally opens his eyes to see he's in a white room. Where? Awake? An old lady in a oh, that's Recovery Girl. Yes, ma'am. What you did out there was quite reckless. You passed out. Oh. I didn't think it was going to work. He admits. She snorts. Well, it did. Majima wants to know if he can get his robots back from you, by the way. Stats. Izuku Midoriya. Quirk, the Landlord. Level 4. STR 13. Dex 12. Vit 31. Int 37. Wiz 38. MP 0 of 75. STA 2 of 25. HP 29 of 31. STP 0. He winces. Not for a couple days, at least. I'm totally out of mana and my stamina is so low I'm surprised I woke up already. Recovery Girl raises an eyebrow. Your quirk tells you that? Yeah? Show stats to Recovery Girl. The stats pane flickers, turns bright pink and moves over in front of Recovery Girl. She studies it for a couple minutes. Your strength and dexterity add to make your stamina? And your intelligence and wisdom add to make your mana points? Yeah. He's kind of surprised she knows enough about video games to figure that out. Have you ever considered becoming a field medic? This kind of information would be invaluable. I haven't. Well, consider it. The world could use more healing heroes. I recommend improving your strength and dexterity, though. You'll need more stamina to be a hero. Okay. Thanks. Oh. I can't actually see other people's stats, just their level, quirk, occupation, and mood. Recovery Girl gives him a droll look. And that information is just as valuable if you need to treat someone. Besides, that might change as you level up. Maybe. He says doubtfully. My assess skill is already at level 17, though. See what it does at level 20 and now that you're awake, you can go home. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Recovery Girl. He says and starts struggling out of bed. She just nods and turns back to whatever she was doing before. Izuku pauses uncertainly at UA's gate, then hesitantly walks in. At least he remembers where the help desk is from the exams. It's a longer walk than he remembers, but then again, there's a lot less people to dodge today. The person at the help desk isn't a staff member today. At least he doesn't think so. It's a girl a couple years older than him studying a math book open on the desk. Hello? She looks up in surprise. Oh, hi. Whatcha need help with? I'm here to return robots to, Majima-san? Oh, Power Loader Sensei. Gotcha. She glances at the computer and nods. He's not in class right now, so I'll page him. You can take a seat while you wait for him. Thanks. No prob. He takes a seat in one of the plush chairs in the lobby and waits until Power Loader shows up. Hey, kid. You're the one who disappeared my 0-pointer, right? Right. He blushes. In my defense, it was about to step on me. Power Loader laughs. Or you thought it was, at least. Give me a little credit for programming them to not be lethal. Oh. Sorry. He blushes harder. Never mind, kid. What do you need? Oh. To give you back your robots. Recovery Girl said you wanted them back. Ah. Then we need to go somewhere else. I'm glad you're giving them back. I wasn't sure you would or could. I mean, I could probably use them for parts or metal, but they are UA property. Power Loader pats him on the shoulder. You're good, kid. Just follow me. They have to go a long ways and actually take a bus ride to the fake city he'd taken his test in, then go into a huge warehouse packed with robots. Okay. The 0-pointer goes in that space and I've got the emergency shutdown ready. Okay. Remove 0-pointer from inventory. There's a holographic flicker, then the 0-pointer materializes in the indicated space, Power Loader hits a button on the device he's holding, and Izuku staggers abruptly. Power Loader steadies him. You okay, kid? Why yeah. Where do you want the others? Others? Oh. Over here. He waves at a space that looks like an area repairs are done in. Remove other robots from storage. The other robots appear in neat stacks that promptly topple over because robots are not meant to be stacked. This time he's not so abruptly tired. Stats. Izuku Midoriya. Quirk, the Landlord. Level 4. STR 13. Dex 12. Vit 31. Int 37. Wis 38. MP 32 of 75. STA 16 of 25. HP 31 of 31. STP 0. Close. The pain disappears obediently. Wow. Taking the 0-pointer out of inventory must have taken around half his mana points on its own, because there's no way the smaller robots cost that much. Good thing he'd waited until he was fully recovered from the exams. Power loader size at the minor damage done. That's a dead useful quirk, kid. If you end up in general studies, I'd be more than willing to let you transfer to the support course. Oh, thanks. He's not really sure what to think about that. On one hand, he wants to be a hero, not a support worker, but on the other, he knows he probably didn't pass the hero practical. And he really doesn't want to be stuck in Gen Ed. I'll think about it. That's all I ask. Come on. Let's go get you some food. You look a bit tired. Quest: finish repaying parents' loaned monies for furnishings. Izuku pauses, then returns to filling out the check that will finally pay off the furniture his mom bought for his apartment building. It had taken almost a year of collecting rent, but he was finally there. He signs it and holds it out to his mom. Here, Mom. For the rest of the furniture. She takes the check and beams at him. I'm so proud of you. Thanks, Mom. Quest completed. Accept rewards? Yes, no. Yes. Quest rewards. +1 level. +1 wis. +1 STP. Put stat point in dexterity. Go to stats. Izuku Midoriya. Quirk, the landlord. Level 5. STR 13. Dex 13. Vit 31. Int 37. Wis 39. MP 76 of 76. STA 26 of 26. HP 31 of 31. STP 0. Another pane pops up. Level reward, new skill. Passive salvage. Inventory will now passively collect discarded monies and valuable items from the areas you traverse. Recommend seeing if valuable items have an owner in search of them. Izuku blinks. Show reward to Mom. Hey, Mom, am I seeing this right? Inko reads it, blinks a few times, rereads it, and then breaks into giggles. Only you, Izuku, only you. As long as you follow the advice, I'm sure you'll be fine. Izuku is so excited. All Might himself had done a recording to tell him that he made it into the hero course. Quest: learn about zoning laws, building codes, property inspections, and building permits. He stares at the quest and realizes that he may have done some things illegally with his property, and it would probably be best to learn how to rectify that. Well, looks like he has things to occupy him until UA starts up for the year. Izuku stares at his teacher, who looks like a hungover jogger, and thinks assess very loudly. Shoyuta Aizawa. Hero name, Eraserhead. Quirk, Erasure. Level 183. Mood, sadistic. Recommend not slacking off. Penalty for slacking is expulsion. His eyes widen. Well, that's motivation if he's ever seen it. He hurries to change as soon as the gym uniforms are handed out and make it to the training field as fast as possible. Aizawa-sensei gives him a thoughtful look when he turns out to be the first person to arrive. Despite doing his level best on the tests, Izuku is not that strong or fast, so he ends up in last place and waits fearfully to be expelled. By the way, no one's getting expelled. It was a logical ruse to get you to do your best. Izuku slumps in relief, even though he's pretty sure that if he hadn't given it his all, he really would have been expelled. Oh, should I have said something? I thought it was pretty obvious. Yaoyorozu says. No, he really would have expelled anyone who didn't take it seriously. Izuku blurts, then slaps a hand over his mouth. Everyone looks at him curiously. Your Quirk told you that? Aizawa-sensei inquires. Why yeah. He wonders what that means. As black-purple fog expands in the USJ, a pane pops up without warning. Emergency quest, survive. Oh sheet. That is not good. Half an hour later, he and his classmates have nearly died like 5 times apiece. He has way too much water in his inventory and he's watched Aizawa-sensei be broken by a level 539 villain that somehow held its own against All Might, who is level 899, for several minutes, plus he's nursing broken ribs and a full body bruise from where he landed when the Nomu hit him. He's lucky he's not dead. So he just kind of stares blankly at the text pane as the medics fuss over him. Emergency quest complete. Accept rewards? Yes, no. When the medics are done fussing for a moment, he says quietly, yes. Emergency. Quest rewards. +1 level. +12 skill levels in assess. +2 recipes in construction. +3 wis. +1 vit. +1 STP. A lot stat point to dexterity. He really wished he'd been fast enough to dodge the Nomu's fist. See stats. Izuku Midoriya. Quirk, the Landlord. Level 7. STR 14. Dex 14. Vit 32. Int 43. Wiz 42. MP 34 of 85. STA 9 of 28. HP 13 of 32. STP 0. He winces when he realizes that if that thing had hit him again, he'd be dead. Also, Nedzu will probably want that small lake's worth of water back at some point. He thinks he'll wait until he can afford the mana, though. Giving it back right now might actually kill him at this point. After getting his bones healed up, he spends the 2 days off he gets trying to get the documentation to make his property fully legal. Fortunately, the people who work with permits seem to be willing to overlook his mistakes due to his age. Alright, you've told me the dimensions of your building, but what kind of building is it? It's a dash. Create scale model? Yes, no. Yes. There's a holographic shimmer on the counter and then a miniature of his apartment building appears. It's an apartment building. Okay. The man looks something up on his computer. You're in luck, that area has dual zoning for business/residential. I'll backdate your building license to the day after you bought it, just like the demolition license. You'll have to go to the next desk over to schedule a building inspection, though. There we go. And print. Thank you again. Inko says and Izuku nods fervently. With that, they take the permits and head over to the next desk. Frankly, Izuku is going to be thrilled to get this over with. Your battle is not over. In 2 weeks is the sports festival. Be ready for it. This is an opportunity that only comes 3 times in a lifetime. The sports festival is where you impress heroes and get opportunities to learn from them and possibly even get sidekick offers once you graduate. All Izuku can think, after that initial jolt of shock and after the explanation, is that his 2 new construction recipes might come in handy in odd ways sooner than he'd ever expected. While others fuss about the sports festival happening at all, he whispers under his breath, go to construction. Skill, construction. 1-story SM house. 2-story SM house. 1-story med house. SM warehouse. Med warehouse. Large warehouse. 1-story apartment building. 2-story apartment building. 3-story apartment building. 3 feet wide walkway, length customizable, new. SM jail cell, new. Yeah, those just might be useful. Why, if he didn't know better, he'd think his Quirk was huffy about him being stuck on a shipwreck and surrounded by villains. It's not, right? This is the work of your Quirk? It's about the 10th time the property inspector has asked the same question. Yes? I mean, yes, it is. Like I said, it provides recipes to choose from. Do you dash? Do you want me to show you? The recipes, I mean? You can do that? Yeah. Show Inspector Construction. A bright pink window facing the inspector pops up, reading. Skill, construction. 1-story SM house. 2-story SM house. 1-story med house. SM warehouse. Med warehouse. Large warehouse. 1-story apartment building. 2-story apartment building. 3-story apartment building. 3 feet wide walkway, length customizable, new. SM jail cell, new. Jail cell? You know that villains broke in at UA? I got caught up in that and afterwards got that as a reward. The man guffaws. Opinionated Quirk. Can't blame it. You're a UA student, then? I am. In the hero course. Good, good. When you get your license, give me a call. He pulls a card out of a pocket and holds it out. Izuku takes it gingerly. Okay? Why? Because your Quirk does good work and I know plenty of people willing to hire that level of good work. Don't worry, I won't charge you anything. My reward will be inspecting buildings that are actually up to code. You'll make bank on it if your Quirk works like you said it does. Oh, thank you. Izuku's not entirely sure what he's talking about. That's very kind of you, Inspector Ito. Inko says, taking the card from him and tucking it into her purse. Quest, learn about construction bids. What? Apparently what he's talking about makes sense to his Quirk, at least, and it wants him to go along with it. I'll give you a call. He promises uncertainly. Glad to hear it. And certainly this place has passed inspection, so your renters can continue to live here, no problem. But next time, arrange it before people move in. Izuku flushes. Sorry. I will. The inspector sees himself out after reassuring them that he'll file the paperwork and backdate it so he doesn't get in trouble. DMN, kid. You were renting this place out without even getting a building inspection? He turns and sees Daigoro Takahashi, the owner of the bar next door, looking at him in weary amusement. Why yeah. I didn't know I needed one, so. But I've got it fixed now. Well, good on you, kid. I'd hate to move out just because you flubbed that and got your land seized or something. Yeah. I don't think they can seize land for that. But they could tie it up in court so I couldn't conduct business here. Yeah, that. Now get out of here. You and that pretty mom of yours shouldn't be spending more time than you have to in this area of hell. Hell? You know. Red light district. I know for a fact that your mom's been solicited at least twice already. Izuku eeps. Okay. Thanks. Bye. Mom, we're leaving now. Bye, kid. Are you okay? Izuku jolts in surprise and turns his head to see Uraraka staring at him in concern. Why yeah. Just looking at my inventory. Inventory? Show inventory to Uraraka. It's her turn to startle as the display turns bright pink and angles a bit towards her. Gravity. This is your quirk. Yeah. The inventory part. It lets me build stuff with it, and having things in the inventory to use as materials makes that easier. Oh. So why do you have a stack of 3 car chassis? And a small lake? And 3 lightly used sinks? And a Furby? Izuku huffs a laugh. Well, the lake is from the USJ, I just haven't gotten around to giving it back yet. The rest I got at Dagoba Beach. Huh? Neat. I'd hold on to that lake if I were you. You can probably use it in the sports festival, and I'm pretty sure Nedzu doesn't care about the water. UA can afford plenty. Oh, I guess you have a point. Yup. Can I have the Furby? He blinks at her a few times. Sure? I don't have a use for it. Quest, exchange Furby for 5 yen. My quirk is asking 5 yen for it. Uraraka huffs and digs it out of a pocket. There goes my lunch money. Here. His quirk pops up another pink pane. Nice doing business with you. Have a good day, Uraraka. Izuku pokes the yen at the inventory, which takes it easily, and pulls out the Furby to hand to Uraraka. She takes it and gives the quirk window a respectful expression. Thanks. Nice doing business with you too. Quest complete. Accept rewards? Yes, no. Yes. Quest rewards. +1 level. +1 STP. A lot stat point to dexterity. Whoa, you get rewards for doing business? Uraraka asks. Well, for completing the quest, which was selling you the Furby for 5 yen. So, like a video game, right? Can you show me your stats? Oh, sure. Show Uraraka stats. Izuku Midoriya. Quirk, the Landlord. Level 8. STR 14. Dex 15. Vit 32. Int 43. Wiz 42. MP 84 of 85. STA 29 of 29. HP 13 of 32. STP 0. No way, dude. Your quirk lets you be a video game character? Mineta shouts, startling him. Essentially, yes. No fair. Crackling pops start up and he gives Kaken a wary look, only to find him glaring at him. You're a FING cheater, Deku? What? Afraid I'll beat you? I'm not afraid of anyone. I'll beat you into the ground no matter how you cheat. Aizawa-sensei clears his throat. This is free study, but keep it down. Midoriya, quit distracting your classmates. Bakugu, don't make threats. It's not a threat, it's a promise. That's even worse. Kaken huffs, but settles down. Hide screens from others. Izuku says obediently. Close stats. Go back to inventory. I wasn't done reading it. Uraraka pouts, but returns to her own desk. Well, she has a good point. What in his inventory can possibly be used in the sports festival? Izuku thinks he's doing okay. Sure, half his class are ahead of him and a few 1B students too, but it's not like he has super strength or super speed. Getting past the robots was easy. He just stored the ones that got in his way. The chasm he's facing should also be easy, but you are not the owner of this land. Maybe reason will work? The owner has granted quirk use on this land for the duration of the event. There's a distinct pause, then, very well. Proceed. Build walkway, 53 feet long. The air flickers across the chasm for a second, then solidifies into a wooden walkway that spans the chasm. He runs across without hesitation, trusting his quirk, even if the flex of it gives him the heebie-jeebies. Once he's over, he turns to put it in his inventory for later use, but someone, or rather several someones, are already crossing it. Oh well. He turns back around and runs like his life depends on it until he reaches the minefield, where he screeches to a halt. He can't do one for the full length of the minefield, there's too many people in the way. Create walkway, 5 feet. Izuku hurries over it, ignoring the shutters of mines going off beneath it. Create walkway, 5 feet. He can do this 20 times, no problem. It is a problem. Everyone behind him uses his walkways and he ends up crowded by impatient people waiting for him to make the next section. At least they're smart enough to not push past him until the end, but that's not really consolation. He is actually a little tired now and it's tough to make it past the finish line before the cutoff number. But he does it. Score 1 for Izuku. He doesn't remember the second event. The last thing he remembers is talking to some purple kid with flyaway hair. Hadn't that kid been the Gen Ed student who had challenged his class? Mental debuff expired. Ah. The purple kid must have some kind of mind control quirk. Something to remember if he's against him in the finals. Because somehow he has made it into the finals, which he didn't expect at all. The universe hates him. He's up against Kaken in the first round. There's no way he can stand up against Kaken. So he doesn't. Instead, he drops a lake on him. Thankfully it washes him out of bounds, so Izuku wins? Kaken looks like a startled wet cat. Midnight Sensei looks pretty unhappy about being soaked, though. Next he's up against Yamamo. He knows he doesn't have a big chance against her, but he decides to give it his all. He pulls the bots from the obstacle course out, facing her direction. She looks surprised and dodges, but quickly enough finishes making a staff and takes it to the bots without mercy. The sounds of cracking and denting metal make him wince as he watches, then he shakes himself. Build jail cell. It appears in holographic form around her, but she dashes through the incorporeal wall before it can solidify, startling him with a swipe of her staff. She chases him around the now much smaller space left in the arena before a thwack to his upper leg makes him stagger and he steps out of bounds. CRP, he needs to see Recovery Girl before the bruise gets worse. Not that he really minds, except that Kaken's going to kill him for losing right after beating him. He decides to hide beside Uraraka, who lost to Tokoyami in the second round. Apparently Dark Shadow is immune to gravity changes. Who knew? In the end, Tokoyami wins because Todoroki refuses to use his fire, and Yamamo and that really obnoxious blonde guy from 1B share the third place podium. Izuku himself is a nervous mess, because Kaken sat down beside him and has been growling under his breath the entire time. Finally Uraraka gets tired of it. Quit threatening Midoriya, Bakugo. He won and you lost. Deal with it. Kaken gives her the dirtiest look imaginable, but does stop the subverbal growling, at least. Much to Izuku's relief. Kaken is doubtlessly going to kick his butt at some point in the near future, but that's a future Izuku problem. Quest, find a ruined property. I don't think my parents have funds for another property right now and I still haven't paid them back for the first one. The pain gains more text. Quest, find a ruined property and do legal salvage on it. Property does not need to be owned. Oh, well that's better. There's always ruined properties after a big villain fight. Now all he needs to do is find out how to do legal salvage. Turns out, getting into the legal salvage business is harder than he thought. Look, kid, I could give you a license for it, but you could get hurt pretty seriously and I'd be responsible for that. Inko clears her throat. Izuku, honey, explain what your quirk can do. Oh. Yeah. I don't actually have to go into a building to salvage stuff. My quirk can just salvage everything usable instantly and then store it. And I can store the rubble, too. That would speed things up for everybody, right? The man stares at him harshly for a long moment until he shifts his weight uncomfortably. You lying to me, kid? And no. I'm not lying. Fine. I'll give you a license, but only for this one area. You want to do this again and you have to apply for a new license. Understand? Yes, sir. I've got it. The man again and starts the paperwork while muttering under his breath about kids these days. Wow, Midoriya. Why do you look like you fought the sports festival twice and lost? We just got off break. Ashido exclaims. Legal salvage. He mutters, cheek against the desk and determinately not twitching because he's too tired to twitch. His STA and MP are so low that there's a high chance of him fainting instead of making it through the day, but he didn't want to miss his first day back to school. Dunno what that is, but it sounds savage. Kaminari says. It is. He agrees. Sure he got another level and STP point out of it, but he's not sure it's worth it. At this rate he's going to die of exhaustion caused by doing quests. His quirk doesn't seem to get that he's a busy high school student. He's also not sure what the F he's going to do with several tons of rubble that is currently hanging out in his inventory. Though at this point he's convinced that his inventory has effectively endless space in it. Midoriya, go see Recovery Girl when it's time for hero studies. I don't want you dying because you're too exhausted to walk straight. Aizawa-sensei orders. Yes, sensei. He acknowledges. Maybe she'll take pity on him and let him nap on one of the beds in there. Really, Aizawa-sensei is the best teacher he's ever had. Sure, All Might is cool, he's All Might, and Present Mike is awesome and the other teachers are. Quest, reward your teacher for his guidance. Gift him with coffee from inventory. What? He has coffee in his inventory? Go to inventory. Find coffee. Oh. To quote Kaken, what the F dash? He apparently has 39 intact bags of coffee and another 9 slightly tattered bags. In about 6 different brands. Which one is he supposed to give him? And how much? He's a little afraid to ask, but, Aizawa-sensei? What brand of coffee do you drink? The face in the yellow cocoon opens its eyes. Black Kitty Cappuccino. Why? He has 3 bags of that. Slightly tattered, but hopefully good enough. Retrieve Black Kitty coffee. Izuku scoops the bags off his desk and takes them over to the yellow cocoon. Here. They're a little bit roughed up, but the coffee itself should be fine. Aizawa-sensei stares at him, then unzips his sleeping bag to take them from him. You are my new favorite student. Izuku beams at him. He's never been anyone's favorite student before. Thanks, Aizawa-sensei. I should be thanking you. The man mumbles under his breath, but Izuku pretends he didn't hear that and goes back to his desk. Quest complete. Accept rewards? Yes, no. Yes. He says quietly. Quest rewards. +1 level. +1 STP. A lot stat point to strength. Go to stats. Izuku Midoriya. Quirk, the Landlord. Level 10. STR 15. Dex 16. Vit 32. Int 45. Wiz 44. MP 89 of 89. STA 31 of 31. HP 32 of 32. STP 0. Another pane pops up. Level reward, new skill. Import recipes. You can now search for and find new recipes for construction and crafting. The landlord will download them once you find them and approve them. State add recipe to add a recipe. Okay, now he's really glad he got that easy quest. This opens up so many options. Plus he made Aizawa-sensei happy. That's even better. Quest, sell some salvage items. Izuku stares at the quest box blankly for a long moment, then turns his head slightly. Aizawa-sensei? Who would I sell salvage items to? Aizawa-sensei blinks at him. I wouldn't know. Try asking Power Loader. That's more his area. Oh, thanks, Aizawa-sensei. Midoriya? How can the support department help you today? Power Loader asks, looking curious and faintly concerned. I've actually got a question for you, Power Loader-sensei. I salvage a lot of stuff because of my quirk and I've just been storing it. In my quirk. But now my quirk wants me to sell some of it. How would I do that? Well, that depends on what you have. There are salvage yards and recycling plants, things like that. Can I just show you? Sure, if that's easier. Show Power Loader inventory. A bright pink pane pops up, startling Power Loader visibly. It's a very tall pane. Inventory. Car chassis X3. Sinks, lightly used X3. Headlights, broken X21. Headlights, intact X5. Computer towers, damaged X2316. Computer towers, intact X57. Metal cubes X27. Toxic liquid X12 gallons. Gasoline X38 gallons. Windshield wiper fluid X14 gallons. Refrigerator/freezers, broken X3. Mini fridge, working condition X1. Flashlights, new X13. Flashlights, used X26. Flashlights, broken X43. Pink Panda Coffee, light roast X2. Pink Panda Coffee, med roast X4. Pink Panda Coffee, dark roast X5, plus 2 slightly tattered. Laughing Fox Coffee, med dark roast X8. Big Kahuna Coffee, espresso X1. Red Porcelain Coffee, light roast X3. Red Porcelain Coffee, med dark roast X6. Red Porcelain Coffee, extra dark roast X5. Golden Ghost Coffee, med dark roast X4, slightly tattered. Golden Ghost Coffee, dark roast X2, plus 1 slightly tattered. Golden Ghost Coffee, espresso X2, slightly tattered. Concrete, broken X60527 tons. Glass, broken X30208 tons. Etc. 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 Well. Power Loader replies after scanning the list for some time. I can see why your quirk doesn't want all this. Your best bet for the concrete is to see if Cementos will buy some of it. Otherwise you'll probably be paying someone to take it off your hands. I can write down a couple places that take scrap metal for your rebar and other unusable metals. I'll write down a place that handles toxic waste, too. And a place that resells furniture and things like sinks if they're still in usable condition. You could take the glass to a recycle center, probably, although they undoubtedly won't take that much. Same with the rebar and other ruined metal. I'll take all your gasoline, flashlights, windshield wiper fluid, refrigerators, headlights and other vehicle parts except for the used tires, computer towers and coffee. I'd buy the metal cubes if they were metal sheets, but I don't have a use for cubes. I'll write up a bill with the prices listed so you know how much I'm paying you. Most of it will be below market price, because it's not in great condition, but the new stuff and the coffee you'll get full price for. Is that okay with you? Yes, Power Loader Sensei. Thank you for your help. Although if you want, my Quirk can remake the metal cubes into metal sheets. He says gratefully. Power Loader's brows raise sharply. I'll say it again, Midoriya. You're welcome to join the support department if you change your mind. Izuku laughs nervously. I'll keep it in mind. Good. What metals do you have specifically? Which alloys? He's completely lost for an answer. Maybe write out the specifications and see if my Quirk recognizes any of them? Sure, we can do that. As it turns out, his Quirk can make specific alloys as long as it has the materials. Power Loader buys 157 metal sheets in various alloys and thicknesses. That still leaves a bunch of unprocessed broken and twisted metals in his inventory. By the time they're done with that and Izuku has turned everything over and gotten a check and a receipt, he's more than 3 hours late to catch his normal train home. Then, when he finally gets home, his mom insists on driving him to the bank to deposit the check before it closed for the day. Fortunately, the check goes through with only a little hassle to verify that he's not trying to scam them. Quest complete. Accept rewards? Yes, no. Yes. Quest rewards. +1 level. +4 levels in crafting. +2 int. +1 STP. Nice. He puts the stat point into dexterity. Quest, repay parents the cost of your property. Izuku startles, then checks his bankbook. The check from UA plus the rent he's been saving up over the last couple months covers a good third of the price of his property. Maybe he can see tomorrow if Cementos will be willing to purchase some of the concrete. Cementos is impressed by his initiative and by his Quirk, enough that he asks quite a few questions about his Quirk, but he also admits that he has plenty of concrete. He does buy half a ton of concrete, but Izuku is pretty sure he's just doing it to be nice. He gets 5,300 yen for it, which isn't a lot but at least makes it more than worth the effort. 236 offers. That's how many internship offers he gets. Which is a lot less than Kaken's 571 offers or Yaoyorozu's 1102 offers, but it's plenty for him. Honestly, he's a little tempted by Endeavor's offer, because he is the number 2. In the end, though, he chooses a relatively unknown hero. Miss Bibbidi, the fashion hero, who has a storage Quirk too. Her Quirk lets her keep her entire wardrobe with her. So she relies on hand-to-hand and support items to win fights. His Quirk is more versatile than hers, but he knows that he can stand to learn some proper fighting techniques. If he'd known any, he might have gotten further in the one-on-one fights, for instance. And he can't rely on serendipitously having the right item in his inventory to win a fight, like had happened with Kaken. Izuku stares at the 3 hero names he has on his whiteboard. Deku, the can-do hero. Zaisan, the land hero. Tochi, the property hero. He doesn't know which one to pick. After a long minute, he erases Deku, because reclaiming it is one thing and making it his professional name is an entirely different thing. Izuku stares some more. He wants to ask Kaken's opinion, but that will just get him scoffed at. After a few minutes of agonized indecision, he turns around to see that Mineta already has a name written out and looks rather smug about it. He shoves his whiteboard at Mineta and whispers, "Which one?" Mineta hesitates, then takes his board from him, crosses something out, writes a couple things and hands it back. Now it reads. Badass. Zaisan, the land hero. Tochi, the property hero lame. He's not sure he agrees, but if he keeps waffling over it he'll never decide. Hesitantly he erases Tochi, too, along with Mineta's comments. Izuku sure hopes that this is the right choice. Then they're standing up and showing off names to be approved. Aoyama's gets tweaked. Ashido's gets turned down. Everyone else gets approved until Kaken stands up and boastfully reads off, King Explosion Murder. Denied. Try again. Midnight says without missing a beat. Midoriya? He stands and turns the board so others can read it. Zaisan, the land hero. Very on the nose. I like it. Mineta? Mineta's gets approved, then they go back to Ashido, who has seemingly given up on a cool name and goes with Pinky, the acid hero. Then it's Kaken's turn again and he tries Lord Explosion Murder as if that's any better. When Kaken sits down, disgruntled at being turned down twice, he does a stupid thing and leans forward and whispers, Kaken, drop the murder part so you don't sound like a 6-year-old brat infatuated with a comic book supervillain. Kaken goes rigid as a post, then twists in eerie slow motion to stare at him, rage in his eyes. What did you say to me? He leans back, knowing he's safe, because Aizawa-sensei will stop Kaken if he explodes. You heard me. If you want to be taken seriously, grow up. Little sparks start dancing over Kaken's hands making little pops as they flit in and out of existence. Until Midnight says, no quirk use in the classroom, Bakugu. Oh yeah, Kaken's going to corner him after school and kill him. He's so dead. Worth it. That little tiny part of him that always reacts with rage to Kaken's insults feels very smug just now. Kaken's gaze turns downright poisonous, but then, instead of exploding, he turns back around, erases his whiteboard and writes something else down on it before standing and showing it to Midnight. Ground Zero, the explosion hero. A nice image. Approved. Midnight chirps, then cracks her WHP for no apparent reason and turns class back over to Aizawa-sensei. He shares a train with Ida for part of the way. Ida glares at him suspiciously for a bit before asking if he's going to Hosu. Which, no he is not. The train just passes through there on its way to Saitama Prefecture. Izuku feels that there's something a bit off about Ida's defensiveness, but the guy did almost lose his brother during the sports festival, so he cuts him some slack and doesn't pry. Manuel is a good hero. He'll take good care of Ida, Izuku's sure of it. Miss Bibbidi has neon pink hair that even Izuku can tell clashes with her dull yellow shirt paired with ripped jeans and ratty orange sandals. She laughs at his expression. Don't worry, this is my avoiding camera's disguise. No one wants to look at me long enough to recognize me. I can teach you to use fashion and lack of fashion to your advantage if you want, but I assume you're more interested in doing patrols and going over procedures you need for running an agency. Yeah. He says sheepishly. I actually want to learn to fight too, if you have time to teach me. She smiles. Yeah, I was going to work some of that in, too. You're clever with your quirk, but your body should be your biggest advantage in a fight. Izuku regrets his life choices, all his life choices. Miss Bibbidi has been teaching him for an hour and he feels like a bulldozer ran over him. She chuckles. Done already? No, he wheezes and wipes the sweat from his forehead, before rolling to one side and pushing himself up and then getting to his feet. As he takes the ready position she's drilled into him, he says, I'm not done yet. Good attitude. Keep it up. She praises. Their first patrol takes them through a relatively quiet neighborhood that has obviously seen some excitement in the last few hours. Quite a few houses are damaged and one small one is absolutely demolished, and there's a little old lady half-heartedly picking at the wreckage and sobbing her heart out in front of that one. Miss Bibbidi winces. Well, I'm going to go hand out the government number these folks can call for reimbursement for rebuilding from a villain attack. See if you can calm down that granny. Okay. Actually, wait. Can I have permission to use my quirk? Her brows raise. You think you can help her? I mean, my quirk can literally demolish buildings, salvage materials, store everything and build something new. She whistles. I did not know your quirk was that overpowered. Sure. Go ahead. I'd like to see what you can do. But remember you need to get her permission first. He salutes and hurries over to the sobbing granny. Boss-san, can I help you? The granny startles and turns to him, wiping away tears. How can you help? I've just lost everything. I can't even search properly to find my photos. I can get those for you if you give me permission to use my quirk on your property. Use my quirk, he says. Fine. You have permission to use your quirk. Salvage personal items. His quirk obediently makes neat piles of dirted and damaged but mostly intact bedding, books, photo albums, picture frames, pots and pans and some other kitchen items, rugs, bathroom toiletries, clothes, and a few other things. She gasps, covering her mouth as she starts crying again. He assumes they're happy tears this time. If you want, I can clear the wreckage and build you a new house. Turning back to him with a bewildered look, she asks, what kind of quirk can do that? Well, it's called the Landlord. And it lets me demolish, salvage, and build buildings. It won't be the same, because I only have a few options to choose from, but it'll be a house. If not, I can get the government number from my mentor so you can call and get reimbursed for rebuilding. She snorts. I know how those reimbursements go. They won't pay half of it. What options do I have? Quest, rebuild Granny's house. He blinks and then realizes that she wants him to rebuild her house after all. Show Boss-san construction recipes. A bright pink pane pops up in front of her. To her credit, she only jolts a little bit. Skill, construction. 1-story SM house. 2-story SM house. 1-story med house. SM warehouse. Med warehouse. Large warehouse. 1-story apartment building. 2-story apartment building. 3-story apartment building. 3 feet wide walkway, length customizable. SM jail cell. Huh? I had a 2-story, but give me the 1-story small house. Those stairs were hell on my knees and back and I'm too old to keep up with anything bigger than that. Izuku nods, because that makes a lot of sense. Use salvage. He's honestly surprised at how little appears in neat stacks. Most of it is fireplace bricks, by the looks of it. Store salvage. Store rubbish. Use construction, 1-story small house recipe. Use stored materials? Yes, no. Yes. A holographic representation appears for a moment, then is replaced with a neat, semi-traditional Japanese cottage. He staggers as the stamina drain hits him. Oof. He forgot about that. But the drain is tolerable, much less than building a 3-story apartment building had taken. Size matters. Good to know. Belatedly, he realizes that store salvage has also stored her personal items. Return personal items. Quest complete. Accept rewards? Yes, no. Izuku sighs in relief, and ignores the notification, when the piles of her stuff reappear, this time noticeably cleaner. I can help you bring stuff inside if you want. No. No, this is good. Thank you so much. She wipes her eyes yet again. What's your name? You're welcome. Zai-san, the land hero. Holy sheet, Zai-san. I know you said you could and you did something similar at the sports fest, but watching it happen is something else. Miss Bibbidi says. Where did she come from? Hey, hero. Zai-san? Can you do the same for my house? A heavy-set man asks, pointing at a large 3-story house. He shakes his head. Sorry, I don't have a recipe for a house that size. And I'd have to demolish what's there before I could rebuild anything. The man sighs. That's too bad. It was worth a shot. Guess I'll be looking up construction companies and calling the government, then. Sorry. Not your fault, hero. You did what you could. Thank you for rebuilding Granny Ito's house. I'd hate to see her homeless. Aya. You're welcome. Miss Bibbidi laughs. Alright, Zai-san. You've done your good deed. Let's finish our patrol and then get some food in you. Izuku finishes eating, tosses the takeout container in the trash and flops on the couch with a contented sigh. Accept rewards. Quest rewards. +1 level. +1 level in construction. +1 level in salvage. +1 STP. He puts the stat point into strength and idly decides to take a look at his inventory. There really hasn't been time to go through it, even before he sold a bunch of stuff to Power Loader, who definitely didn't need all that he bought. Inventory. Sinks, lightly used X3. Toxic liquid X6 gallons. Tires, intact X2. Tires, worn X5. Tires, ripped or punctured X27. Concrete, broken X60490 tons. Glass, broken X30207 tons. Glass orbs, various colors X1.5 tons. Metal, twisted and broken X29548 tons. Live plants, pots intact X12. Live plants, pots broken X23. Salvaged yen. Kissing bears X1 PR. Miruko keychain X3. Fish tank, 10x2x3, cracked X1. Live fish X17. Colony of termites, exterminated X2. Colony of carpenter ants, exterminated X3. Etc. 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 Why is the toxic liquid half gone? Never mind, he doesn't want to know. Salvaged yen? Why is there no number with it? He'll have to check that out later. Live plants? Live fish? He'd probably needs to do something with those sooner than later. Then he sits up abruptly. That's why her house collapsed. What do you mean? Miss Bibbidi asks, looking startled at his shout. My inventory has dead termites and ants in it. Her house had termites, that's why it collapsed like a house of cards and had almost nothing to salvage. Huh? Looks like that villain did her a service. You did good, Midoriya. Thanks. He says, abashed now at his loudness. I mean it. Without you, she probably would have ended up in a government apartment with little to nothing that she cared for left. She would have been miserable. Being a hero is more than just fighting. But all too often, there's little we can do for the victims other than give them phone numbers for resources to help them with the aftermath. My gimmick is clothing, but your gimmick could be rebuilding houses for the little people. Still charge for it, of course, but you can afford to charge less and it gets done faster than any building company could do it. That means a lot when someone's suddenly homeless. Oh. That's a lot to think about. But he likes the idea. She chuckles. You don't have to decide right now. I'm thinking we'll do something more relaxing tomorrow. Going over procedures and introducing you to fashion options. He huffs a little in amusement. I have it on good authority that I'm hopeless at fashion. And I have it on good authority that I'm an excellent teacher when it comes to fashion. She retorts, amused. Going over procedures turns into filling out paperwork that has stacked up, and by late afternoon when they're finally done with that, Miss Bibbidi decides to give both of them a break from using their brains and instead kicks his butt around the training room again and wipes the floor with him a few times for good measure. As rough as it is, it feels good to exercise and he's actually learning a lot, because she goes over stances and moves, and lets him try them out on her when she's not busy making him regret life. Overall, he feels like it's been a good day when they're done. Miss Bibbidi orders in dinner and reminds him to take a shower before sending him off to bed. He's more than glad to collapse into bed once he's finished with his shower and changed into PJs. Skills. Demolition level 2. Salvage level 25. Passive salvage level 9, level reward. Construction level 5. Crafting level 23. Import recipes level 0, level reward. Assessment level 29. Legal knowledge level 24. Fashion knowledge level 3. Huh? Izuku stares at the new addition to his skills list for a moment before shaking his head. Well, at least he knows he's learned something? That's good, since his head is currently spinning with all the information on clothes that Miss Bibbidi has just dumped on him. Even with taking notes as he went, it's a bit much to process. He's not sure it's very useful, given that it's mostly girls' fashion that he's been taught, but on the bright side, that means he won't have to try to apply the knowledge unless he has to go undercover as a girl. Izuku is pretty certain that he actually doesn't look enough like a girl to pull that off anyways. Zai-san? You okay there? Izuku blinks back to reality. Yeah, sorry. What did you say? Miss Bibbidi holds up a sweater dress and a pair of leggings. I said that it's time to teach you how to apply those lessons to undercover work. And to start teaching you how makeup works. This outfit should work well to start with. He gives her a look of horror, but she just looks amused and holds out the outfit. With a loud groan of protest, he takes the items and goes to change. The leggings are a bit of a struggle, but the sweater dress is easy enough to get into. It just leaves him feeling exposed. Reluctantly, he exits the bathroom to show her. Her face lights up. I knew it. You are androgynous enough to pull it off easily. He's what? Come sit here. I'm going to teach you how to apply makeup to give a totally different look to your face without a lot of effort. She pats the chair in front of a desk-type thing with a large mirror. Well, he'd wondered what that was for. Izuku very reluctantly learns how to put eyeliner, eyeshadow and mascara on, outline his lips to give them definition and to put on lip balm or lipstick. Each option makes a definitive change to his look, even if he doesn't agree that it's not a lot of effort. Maybe the eyeliner and lip balm could be called, not a lot of effort, but everything else? He really hopes he has no occasions to pull out the full works. Okay, I think we can stop here for today. I can teach you the basics of foundation and powder another day. There's more? He cringes openly, which makes her laugh. Come on. Put your shoes on. We're going to go over to a local shoe store and find some dress shoes that fit you. Men's dress shoes? He asks hopefully. Sure, why not? We can do that too. But we're first going to find you a pair that matches that dress. Izuku groans but doesn't protest. Why are adults sadistic about clothes shopping? When they return from the shoe store, Izuku is exhausted. He slumps on the couch in the lounge and turns on the news while Miss Bibbidi orders them takeout from somewhere. Hosu is currently under attack from several villains, which is causing mass havoc and panic. As a result, all trains to and from Hosu have been temporarily halted to prevent further casualties. As you can see in this video, local heroes are struggling to contain these attacks and the property damage that is resulting is horrendous. Izuku sits up abruptly as a clip of what is clearly another Nomu plays, knocking heroes around as if they're playthings and attacking civilians when it can. Stay tuned for further updates on the situation. Donations to help rebuild Hosu can be made if you call this number XXXXXXXXXXX. We have one of our reporters live on the scene. Daichi, how are things on your end? Well, things are pretty chaotic over here, Ichigo. As you can see Isn't Hosu where Ida went? Yes it is. He hopes he's okay. You okay, kid? Miss Bibbidi asks. No, Hosu's having villain attacks and one of my classmates is in that mess. Really? Let's see. She sits down next to him. There's probably nothing she can do about the situation, but the action makes him feel a little better. Rescue heroes have begun to move in and start rescuing bystanders caught in the recent villain invasion and helping with cleanup in the aftermath. Meanwhile, we have received breaking news. During the recent chaos of mass villain attacks in Hosu, the hero killer has been caught. Mirio Togata, a third year at UA with his provisional license, known as Lemillion, was able to protect local hero native and a first-year UA student, whose name cannot be shared due to privacy laws, and detain the hero killer with only a little help from native, who has expressed gratitude to Lemillion for his timely assistance. What is UA feeding their students these days? Lemillion was able to capture a villain who has eluded capture time and time again and who has killed or crippled multiple pro heroes. And he's still a student. Looks like we have great things to look forward to from this upcoming young hero. Izuku has the sinking feeling that the first year involved must have been Ida. Not only is he the only student who took an internship in Hosu, but his brother Ingenium was recently crippled by the hero killer. Had he gone looking for the hero killer? He hopes not. But he has the feeling that his hope is in vain. That his classmate had almost died because of his anger. That is not a good thought. Could he have helped stop him if he'd tried? Izuku doesn't think so, given how angry Ida was at him for just traveling in the same general direction, and that makes him sad. Suddenly restless, he gets to his feet. Can we do something else? I think I need to stop watching the news. Miss Bibbidi gives him a sympathetic look. How about some paperwork? There's a little left from yesterday. He nods determinedly. Sounds good. It's not until he's headed to bed that he realizes that he completely forgot to take off the dress and the makeup. He stops and goes out of his room again. Miss Bibbidi? How do I remove makeup? She gives a tired laugh. Here, I'll help you. Sorry about that, Zai-san. The rest of internship isn't really exciting. There's more lessons in makeup and clothes and using them as disguises. There's a couple more patrols. There's more fighting lessons. And watching the news for redundant updates on Hosu. There's also a session where he gets to learn firsthand how to do photo shoots for a clothing magazine. He even gets an offer to have him model after he graduates from UA, which Miss Bibbidi tells him to accept, because guaranteed income is important. Which he immediately grasps because of the income he gets from his property. But there's no more heart-stopping villain attacks like Hosu. The hero killer is locked up safely. And there's no more rebuilding of houses destroyed in villain attacks. In a word, boring. He can't complain, though, he's learned a lot. Things that will be important later on. Still, it's good to be back at UA, listening to his classmates chatter about their internships. Except Ida, who is suspiciously quiet. What about you, Midoriya? Yamamoto asks, surprising him a little. Why is someone like her talking to someone like him? It doesn't make sense. Oh, it was good. I got to rebuild a granny's house after a villain attack and learned a bunch about disguise. Like hell he's going to admit to dressing up as a girl. And I did a little bit of modeling too. You too? Did you enjoy it? Izuku makes a SOSO gesture. Everyone was nice and it was very businesslike, so it wasn't too bad. And I got an offer to model again sometime, which was nice of them. It was only the one day, so I got to do patrols and stuff too. I'm a bit envious. She admits. Modeling was the only thing we did and we didn't even learn the business side of it. Just how to pose. That must be disappointing. Yes. Quite. Maybe next time you could help me choose? You know a lot about heroes, don't you? He hesitates. Yes. And I'd be happy to help you if you really want. I would appreciate it. I don't want to spend another internship feeling totally useless. He nods, because that makes sense. And Midoriya? Principal Nedzu wants to see you in his office 15 minutes after classes get out. Aizawa-sensei adds. Okay, send dash. The bell cuts him off, signaling the end of their last class for the day. Okay, looks like he has 15 minutes to find the principal's office. He digs in his bag to find the school information pamphlet, since it has the map he needs. It's been 14 minutes according to the last clock he passed when he makes it to the principal's office. The door swings open as he goes to knock, causing him to stumble forward a little. Am I a bear, a mouse, or a dog? It doesn't matter, because I'm the principal, Nedzu. Come in and have a seat, Midoriya. Tea? No thank you. Izuku says hesitantly, sitting down and noticing that Yamamoto is sitting in the other chair. Did I do something wrong? Oh, no. Most definitely not. Your performance in the sports festival has earned you an offer. I will let Miss Yayorozu explain. Yamamoto looks briefly surprised and sets her tea down. My parents saw what you can do in the sports festival and being successful business people, they saw potential in your future and as such would like to offer you training by a contract lawyer to teach you how to read and write business contracts. Specifically for construction projects. You do not have to accept, but it is a good opportunity, which I believe would serve you well in the future. Izuku is speechless for a long moment, then manages, what do they want in return? That is an excellent question. Nedzu praises. Never forget to ask that question. Yamamoto smiles slightly. I believe they would like you to agree to take at least one contract with them after you graduate. They do not want to take gross advantage of you, however, thus their offer to have our family's contract lawyer teach you the specifics of contracts. I assure you that he will be well compensated for his time, should you accept. He bites his lip uncertainly and finally says hesitantly, is it okay for just me to get this offer? Wouldn't it be better if everyone in the hero course got a class on it? You have a good point, Nedzu replies. However, it is perfectly fine to take this opportunity. You earned it, after all. Oh. He fidgets with his fingers, unable to process that just yet. Quest, learn to read, negotiate and write contracts. My Quirk wants me to take it, so I guess. Yeah. I accept. Yamamoto gives him a real smile. Excellent. I'll let my parents know and they'll have our contracts lawyer set things up with Nedzu. Tuesdays and Thursdays should work for you, shouldn't they, Midoriya? Nedzu queries. MMN? Oh, yeah. Opposite days from heroics class would be good, so that works. He replies, feeling a little bit like he fell down a rabbit hole like Alice had in that one weird pre-Quirk movie for kids. Something about a poker card liking to behead people? After a moment's consideration, he shakes away that train of thought. No need to give himself more existential dread than he normally approaches life with. Izuku stares at his inventory. Live plants, pots intact x12. Live plants, pots broken x23. Salvaged yen. Kissing bears x1 PR. Miruko keychain x3. Fish tank, 10x2x3, cracked x1. Live fish x17. He should probably see if someone is looking for the kissing bears, but the Miruko keychains are common merchandise. Assuming they're not attached to someone's house keys, of course. He should probably check that. And the yen, he definitely needs to check that. The fish tank and live fish and live plants are a little more concerning. Izuku isn't sure how his Quirk is keeping them alive. How long can you keep living things in inventory? 1 month. Oh, that's not too bad. Wait. How much longer do I have before the plants and fish need to be removed from inventory? Live plants, pots intact x12. Maybe stored for 2 weeks, 3 days longer. Live plants, pots broken x23. Maybe stored for 2 weeks, 3 days longer. Live fish x17. Maybe stored for 2 weeks, 3 days longer. Okay, he still has time, but what does he do with them? Hey, Mom? Yes, honey? What should I do with 35 live plants and 17 live fish? I think I got them from salvaging those office buildings. Oh, I know. Why don't you take them to the apartments you own? The fish can go in the lobby and the plants can be handed out to the residents if they're interested. That could work. Although he'll need a new fish tank. Can his Quirk create a new one? Probably. Oh, thanks. You're busy this week, right? Yes, that's right. I need to leave for work in 20 minutes and I'm working the same shift for the next 15 days. He nods. Okay. I'll take the train over that way and drop them off after school tomorrow. She frowns. Are you certain you'll be safe? I'm pretty sure it's only about 6 blocks from the train station and I promise I won't wander off the sidewalk. Oh, all right. But be careful. I will. He promises and turns his attention back to his inventory. Colony of termites, exterminated x2. Colony of carpenter ants, exterminated x3. Etc. 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 Well, those he should probably just throw away. Does exterminated mean that his Quirk can't keep bugs alive, though? Can I store other live things besides plants and fish? No. Partial stasis is bad for living things. Plants are a limited exception and water stores enough oxygen to keep the fish alive for a limited time. Oh, so other things that live in water would be okay too? If they breathe underwater and are not exceptionally large, most likely. What about turtles? 5 days. If you want to run the risk of mental trauma due to being immobilized and sensory deprivation. Oh. I guess that makes sense. What makes sense, honey? I can't put living things that normally move around in inventory, because it could give them mental trauma from being immobilized and sensory deprivation. His mom winces. Yeah, let's avoid that. Izuku nods and looks back at his inventory. Salvaged yen. He frowns. Show amount of salvaged yen. A moment later he gasps at the amount. It's enough to finish paying off his parents and a good quarter of the price of a second property of the same price. How in hell? Izuku? Are you alright? His mom asks worriedly. Confused for a second, he realizes that he's making a noise like a boiling tea kettle. Oops. Why yeah. I am. Just. Somehow I have enough money to finish paying you and Dad off with some left over. She blinks at him for a moment, then brightens. Ah, that makes sense. At least some of those office buildings must have had cash on hand for emergencies. And it's legal for you to have since you acquired it under legal salvage. Oh. Well, that's handy. After his mom leaves, he puts on his shoes and locks the door and heads to the bank. They know him now and he knows who to ask for help, so he should be fine without his mom along. The bank somehow feels bigger without his mom along. Fortunately, he is recognized and seated with the bank person who'd worked with them the last couple times they'd been in to deal with property-related and furniture-related payments. So, how can I help you today, Midoriya-san? Ah? He fidgets, then makes himself quit and sit up straight. I did some legal salvage and apparently my Quirk passively salvaged some money that was on the sites and I need to deposit it and write my parents a check to finish paying them back for the property they bought me. The banker woman, Izumi Ito, smiles with a tinge of amusement. Alright, do you have the money on hand? Yeah. Retrieve salvaged yen. Literal piles of yen, some obviously dirted and or torn, but still neatly laid flat, appear on the desk, threatening to tip over. Ms. Ito yelps slightly and steadies a pile reflexively. Oh my. You weren't kidding. This is going to take a while to count. Yeah. Sorry. She smiles again. Don't be sorry. The bank always loves to see money come in. Oh. Haha. It takes nearly an hour to get it counted, deposited, and get him a receipt. And since his mom isn't right there to accept a transfer, he spends another half hour setting up a checking account so he can write her a proper check that she can deposit later. And then another 5 minutes for Ms. Ito to explain how to fill out the check and what the different areas and numbers are for. It's different from filling out an in-institution transferal of funds form. In-bank check? Whatever. It's different. By the time he's done, he's more than glad to be finished and able to take the train back to his area and to grab some takeout on his way home. He pays for it with his allowance, but it's still a novelty to have a brand new bank card that he could use instead. Well, a second bank card. He has one for his rental monies account too. He already had that account, but Ms. Ito had helped him decide that a second account would reduce confusion in tracking monies, given that his Quirk will probably ask him to buy another property at some point. Honestly, he's still so excited once he gets home and eats dinner that he can't sit still. In an attempt to calm down, he looks through the various pages of his Quirk and stops on the skills page. Import recipes level 0, level reward. Oh, yeah. He hasn't tried that one out yet, has he? How do I import recipes? You need to find the specifications of dimensions and materials and blueprints. Sometimes also the fabrication process specifications. Oh, so like crafting those metal sheets for Power Loader Sensei? Yes, that is an example of a simple product. He nods. That tracks. By the way, are you sentient? Sometimes you answer a little bit like you have free will. I was not aware of that, but yes, I am sentient and have some free will. Really? That's cool. He enthuses. Wait, then should I call you the landlord, or do you have a name or? There is an odd pause before his Quirk replies. You can call me Tochi. He almost chokes as he recognizes it as his discarded idea for a hero name. That's so appropriate. Hi, Tochi. Thank you. Hi. Although we were already talking so I don't understand why you're saying it now. Izuku laughs. Because you introduced yourself. I do the same, but you already know who I am, given that you are my Quirk. I see. He gets the distinct impression that Tochi does not, in fact, see what he means, but that's probably okay. Tochi can always ask if he really wants to know. He, it, she, he or it is fine. Ah, okay. So, is downloading recipes from the internet okay? Yes. Books, written specifications, verbal specifications and other media are also fine. Oh, good. Should I start with furniture recipes or look for more building recipes? That is your decision. Izuku huffs, but lets it go. It was worth a shot, but that's fair, he supposes. Sure, it's only a 6-block walk from the train station, but he kind of forgot that he has to pass the rest to get to his apartment building. That might be a problem, he decides, since his way is being blocked by a rather large man. Next time he'll cross the street rather than go directly past it. What's a nice boy like you doing here? Going there. He points at the apartments. The man pauses to take a look, then looks back at him. I could get you into a nicer place than that, if you want. Assess, he thinks. Takeo Hirobayashi. Level 15. Businessman. Quirk, sincere deals. Hopeful. Sincere. Mildly drunk. Recommend being gentle with. Hopeful? Does that mean he's propositioning Izuku? Why would he dash? Oh, right, because they're in front of a bordello. Izuku clears his throat. I'm sorry, I think there's a misunderstanding. I don't live there, I'm the owner. There's a pause, in which Hirobayashi looks back and forth between him and the building several times, then straightens slightly and flushes, then gives a small bow. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't make you uncomfortable. A little, but it's an understandable mistake. Izuku answers, gesturing to the res next to them. Can I get by now? Oh, of course. Hirobayashi steps quickly out of his way and then watches him walk the rest of the way to his building. It makes him a little uncomfortable, but he consoles himself that the man is drunk and probably doesn't realize he's being creepy. Ayane, his manager, meets him at the door. I saw you got stopped. Are you okay? Yeah. I'm fine. What did he want? I think he offered to be my sugar daddy? He backed off after I told him I own this place, not live here. Oh, that's good. She says with a sigh of relief. What are you doing here, anyways? And why didn't your mother bring you? Mom's working afternoon shifts for a while and I need to get some things out of my inventory before they die, so I came on my own. Her eyes widen. Inventory? I thought you have a building quirk. I do. It also lets me store materials and other things, though. And living things too? I mean, since you said they could die. Only plants and fish. Which I have some of from some legal salvage I did a couple weeks ago. Mom said I could put the fish in the lobby and hand out the plants to the renters. Ian's brows lift, then she smiles. That sounds like it will work. I think the girls and a few of the others would be happy to get plants. Put them here in the foyer and I'll tell them to take the ones they want. He nods. Tochi, can you make a non-cracked replica of the fish tank and transfer the contents of the cracked fish tank to it? Yes. Where do you want it? And that's a fair question. He takes a good look at the foyer, then points at the wall opposite the office. There. There's a holographic fish tank for a second, before it firms into a real one, just empty, and then a moment later fills with water, fish, plants, and gravel and some fish tank equipment that seems to be working. It's only half full, though. Ian gives him a startled look, then goes over to look. I think we need to add water. Probably. Tochi salvaged it, but the tank was cracked before we got to it. I'll fill it up after you leave. Oh, we'll need fish food, won't we? She says. You named your quirk? Oh. He's sentient and named himself. And I'll leave you some money for fish food. Wow. That's one crazy strong quirk, Midoriya. He rubs the back of his neck sheepishly, trying not to turn red. Where do you want the plants? And Tochi, do we have any unbroken pots in inventory to put the ones in broken pots in? No. They can be made. In front of the fish tank is fine. Ian answers. Okay, make replacement pots, then put the plants in broken pots into the replacement pots and retrieve the ones in unbroken pots, too. There is a hesitation this time, then a shimmer of pots turning into real pots, quickly followed by the plants. That is a lot of plants. Ian says, looking a bit taken aback. Well, it was from 6 different office buildings. He offers. That would do it. She agrees. You don't care who gets these, right? Right. He pulls his wallet out of inventory and takes out 10,000 yen. Here. For the fish food. Let me know if you run out or need more. She takes the money and tucks into a wallet that she takes from somewhere he shouldn't contemplate. Is that all you came here for? Yeah. Is there anything you need me to address while I'm here? No, I've got it under control. Let me walk you back to the train station so you don't get stopped again. And next time give me a call to let me know you're coming and I'll have someone waiting to escort you. You shouldn't be walking alone in this neighborhood. You never know what could happen to a cute kid like you. Oh, okay. He acquiesces, wondering what kind of things? Given her tone, probably nothing good. I didn't mean to worry you. Well, you did. So don't do it again. I will. I won't. I'll call ahead. He waves his hands in distress. Ian chuckles, leaning back when he almost smacks her by accident. All right. Good. I'll hold you to it. He relaxes with a sigh of relief that she didn't take his slip of the tongue wrong. Quest, gain a second property. Really, Tochi? I'm going to school to become a hero, not a landowner, he complains. There's nothing saying you can't be both. In fact, many popular heroes own more than one property. So, I'm just getting a head start on that, huh? I suppose you are geared towards land owning. He sighs. Fine. I'll ask my parents. I don't think I have enough to buy a cheap property even with both accounts. Reasonable. He goes in the living room. Hey, Mom? My quirk wants me to buy another property. Oh. She looks startled, then shakes her head with a smile. Your dad and I figured this might happen. I'll get in touch with a realtor. We can look at a couple after school every day. It'll be slow, but shouldn't exhaust you too much. Sounds good, thanks, Mom, he says gratefully. It is slower than last time, but they use the same realtor agent, so they're not being shown the same properties again. A bit over a week and a half later, they step onto a property with a small, shabby 2-story house with a large lawn with an oddly rumpled look to it, as if someone had designed it out of sloppy rectangles that no amount of watering and mowing can erase. It gives the property an oddly eerie feel. This one is on the upper end of your range and, frankly, it's been on the market for 2 years with no offers for it, but if you want to replace the building or add on to it, the property is dash. This property has dead bodies on it. Dead bodies? As in multiple? Izuku queries, interrupting the agent, who he's not listening to anymore. Excuse me, the agent asks. Yes. Multiple. My Quirk is telling me there's multiple dead bodies on the property, he explains. Is there a personal graveyard included? She pales. No. No, there is not. I didn't think dash? Can your dash? She stops and takes a deep, calming breath. Is there any way your Quirk can prove this? Because if this is true, I think it's something I'm required to report, and I'm not sure the police will take the word of a client's Quirk. Salvage corpses? Can you salvage them without disturbing the evidence? The police will need that, he asks. Yes. Okay, then, salvage corpses. Soil-darkened bundles in roughly human shapes appear on each rectangle. Izuku pales in shock. His mom cries out in horror and covers her mouth, crying. The agent turns green and pivots to barf. When she's done, she straightens and wipes her mouth shakily before pulling out her phone and looking something up and then making a call. Hello? Yes, this is Aimi Shimizu, a real estate agent with Parachute Properties, and I need to report the discovery of multiple bodies at XXXXXXXX. No, a client's Quirk discovered them. Yes. The client's Quirk was able to excavate them. What? No. You really think I can sell a property like this with corpses sitting all over it? I want to talk to your superior. Fine. We'll be waiting. She hangs up and looks at Izuku and Inko apologetically. The police want you to hang around for questioning. Understandable, his mom says shakily, still crying. Honestly, he wants to cry too. He's just in too much shock to react properly. Numbly, he nods. Let's just sit in the car until they show up, the agent suggests, and they both comply, glad for some small separation from the sheer horror in front of them. The cops show up surprisingly quietly, though with lights flashing. There are several different cars that show up, surprisingly. They get out of the car as the cops pull up and wait for them to approach. The cops look shocked as they take in the number of bodies. Several of them look worryingly green. One of them whistles, impressed, and gets slapped on the back of his head. One pair of cops walks over to them while the rest get busy cordoning off the area. Which one of you is Shimizu? The older cop asks gruffly. I am, the agent volunteers. He nods and pulls out a notebook. We need to take your statements. Oh, I'm Aimi Shimizu with Parachute Properties, and I've been showing the Midoriya's properties over the last week and 3/4. We just walked onto the property and I was telling them about it when my client commented that his Quirk told him that there were multiple dead bodies on the property. I asked him if his Quirk could prove it because I was worried about the police concluding it was a prank if I called in without evidence, and, it did. As you can see. I threw up and then called about it, she says. And then we sat in the car to wait. That's all. The cop writes as she talks. Okay. I need you to not inform the owner of the property about this for a couple weeks, in case the owner is the killer. Shimizu-san blanches. Oh, okay. I'm under contract to inform them of developments within 3 weeks, though. That gets another note jotted down. We'll keep that under advisement. Thank you, Shimizu-san. Midoriya-san, can I get your statement now? Oh, sure. My son and I have been shopping for a property to fulfill the requirements of a quest his Quirk gave him. Quest? The officer interrupts. Can you explain that? His mom startles. Oh, that is. My son's a late bloomer. He has a Quirk called the Landlord. It gives him quests geared towards property owning and gives him the capability to build houses. This is the second time he's gotten a quest to buy property. My husband and I bought him a property before that he turned into a 3-story apartment house and rented out. He was recently able to pay us off, between rent monies and salvage from properties ruined in hero fights. He doesn't have enough to buy another property and he's still too young to do the legal stuff on his own, so my husband and I are going to finance this second property as well. So, your son's Quirk is a type of gamer Quirk? But focused on properties? Yes, I think so. His mom looks a little uncertain. Alright, continue please. His mom bites her lip for a moment. I'm Inko Midoriya. My son and I were shopping for a new property. Shimizu-san was telling us about this property once we got here, and then Izuku said, dead bodies? As in multiple? Which startled me and Shimizu-san. Shimizu-san asked him about it and he confirmed that his Quirk told him that there were multiple dead bodies on the property, and he asked if there was a personal graveyard here. Shimizu-san said there wasn't and asked if his Quirk could prove there were dead bodies. Izuku talked to his Quirk, confirming it could retrieve the bodies without disturbing the evidence, and then ordered his Quirk to retrieve the bodies. Once he did she breaks off sobbing for a moment, then continues. Once he did, we realized it wasn't just a couple bodies, it was a whole graveyard of bodies. And, Shimizu-san called the police to take over and then we sat in the car to wait. Thank you, Midoriya-san. Do we have your permission to take your son's statement? Inko gives him a worried look. Are you up to it, honey? He nods. I think so. Then you have my permission. The cop turns to Izuku. We can stop at any time if you need to, Midoriya-kun. Thanks. I'm Izuku Midoriya. On paper my quirk can demolish buildings, salvage and store things from buildings and dumps and build anything it has the recipe for. We've only used a few of the several we have automatically. On paper? Yeah, I've recently discovered that my quirk is sentient. I also know he's a gamer quirk because of how it reacted at the USJ incident at UA. But not like dungeons or anything. The cop looks immensely tired, while his partner looks intrigued. Anyways, like Mom said, I paid her and Dad off for the first property they bought me with a mix of monies from rent and legal salvage. So Tochi, that's my quirk, gave me another quest for buying property and we've been looking for like a week and a half? About that. We've only been looking at the cheapest properties, because there weren't any other specifications. Only, when we got to this property, Tochi informed me of multiple dead bodies, he explains. And how does Tochi know this? I am aware of all aspects of property and buildings, including foundations and plumbing and water lines. Izuku blinks. Tochi says he's aware of all aspects of a property, including the underground stuff. Which makes sense, because when he builds a house, he does the plumbing and water lines and stuff too. Okay, continue please. Oh, right. Shimizu-san asked if I was sure about the bodies and if Tochi could prove it, so Tochi offered to do salvage and I asked him to do that after confirming the evidence wouldn't be disturbed by it. He pauses and swallows hard. I didn't think there was that many bodies. Shimizu-san called it in and we sat in the car until you showed up. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Did your quirk, at any time, store the bodies? No, Izuku says instantly, horrified at the notion. Is your quirk capable of storing bodies? The landlord is incapable of storing humans, living or dead. No. He's not capable of storing humans, whether alive or dead, Izuku answers, grateful for the confirmation. But your quirk is able to salvage corpses? Salvage is merely moving something. Storage capability is limited to property-related items. Tochi says that salvage is merely moving something, but he can only store property-related items, he relays. Are you accusing my son of something? His mom asks, a warning in her tone. No, ma'am. I'm merely eliminating the possibility that someone could attempt to shift the blame to him, since his quirk was involved, the cop explains. There's no real possibility of it sticking, given his age, but lawyers are assholes. That's all the questions I have for now. But I do need to get your numbers, in case you need to be contacted for a future trial once we catch the culprit. Shimizu-san and his mom give their numbers and the cop waves him off when he offers his. You're a minor. We'll contact you through your mom if needed. All of you can go home and try to get this off your minds. Make an appointment with a therapist if you need to, but don't go talking about this with your friends or strangers, the cop warns. Thank you, officer, Shimizu-san says politely and ushers them back into the car. If her driving is a bit shaky on the way back to the agency, neither of them comment on it. When they arrive, she says, I don't know about you, but I'm taking a week off of work. This was something I wasn't prepared to face on the job. Or off of it, for that matter. We weren't either, Inko reassures her shakily. We'll understand if you don't want to work with us after this. Shimizu-san clenches her fist. It's not your fault. And I'm not going to let this get in the way of my job. I just need a few days to myself. Understandable, Izuku says. I think I need some time off of looking at properties too. I know I'll probably see worse things as a hero, but I think I'm going to have nightmares about this. I think I'm going to make an appointment with Hound Dog and see if he can help me with it. Hound Dog the hero, she asks. Yeah, he's UA's school therapist, he explains. A therapist is a good idea, she agrees. Maybe I'll find one myself. They part ways and Izuku is glad that they took public transportation today instead of driving. Mom definitely isn't in the headspace necessary to drive. Oi, FING nerd. Why do you look like someone destroyed your All Might collection? Kaken demands. Izuku gives him a tired look. I can't talk about it. Can't or won't. Kaken scowls at him. He runs the police officer's words through his head again. Technically, Kaken is neither a friend nor a stranger, but he's pretty sure the police wouldn't be impressed by that reasoning. Sure, he'd said nothing about talking to family, but legally Kaken isn't family and they're not close enough anymore for growing up together to make them family in spirit. Can't. Like, legally can't. Kaken gives him a narrow-eyed look. Izuku sighs. Look, I promise no one touched my All Might collection or anything like that. Then quit moping around, Kaken tells him sharply. I'm doing my best, Kaken, he replies wearily. Then do better. Kaken tells him mercilessly. F you, he replies without thought in a rather bland tone, just out of sheer irritation at the thought that he can just get over something like that so easily. Kaken gives him a startled look, then humphs and turns back around. Wait. That's it? He proceeds to have a mini-crisis over wondering if Kaken was just waiting for him to speak his language to quit harassing him all along. If that's the case, then it'll be hard, but surely he can add a few fs to his words when speaking to Kaken? Yeah, he can do that. Probably. Due to villain activity, the tracks ahead are blocked by a tunnel collapse. Repair time will take several days. We are sorry for the inconvenience. Refunds will be issued for the remainder of your trip. Please exit calmly and find a different route to your destination. Izuku exhales in frustration. He should have taken the long way around today, but he's tired and just lacking energy due to the emotional toll that is taking on him. Now he either needs to backtrack 17 blocks to catch the right train and wait an hour for it to show up, or he needs to trek 12 blocks through an area of town that has been the site of a large enough villain attack that the area is still half-flattened a good 10 years after the fact, not to mention whatever villain fight resulted in the tunnel collapse. That could be ongoing still. Choices. Offer to repair tunnel? He blinks. That's an option, but they still wouldn't let the train go through without bringing in specialists to verify its safety, and that will take at least a day. Oh. It's okay, you tried, he offers sympathetically. A woman next to him bursts into tears. Thank you. I needed to hear that. She clenches her fist. I really did try. That's what counts, he assures her, even though he has no idea what she's talking about. The crowd moves them away from each other, thankfully, so he doesn't have to keep up the unintended conversation. Once he's been issued a credit ticket and gets outside, he takes one look at the crowd streaming back towards the previous station and decides, screw it. I'll take the short route. If he runs into the villain fight, he'll deal with it when he gets there. He does not run into a villain fight. Instead, he walks through a short section where businesses have been rebuilt, then blocks of crudely cleared land that still have broken foundations and random chunks of cement and rebar. Partway through, he runs across a sign. If interested in acreage, contact the City Land Bureau at 080 XXXX. Has all this land reverted to the city? Did the owners just give up? Or did they sell it to the city when they couldn't rebuild? Despite himself, he finds himself interested in what could be done to revitalize the area. He pulls out a notebook and jots down the number. At the very least, it can't hurt to call and find out. It's probably only referring to a small plot, and it's probably well out of his price range, but, well, he'll call. Not today, but soon. After a few days of essentially moping over that, Izuku decides to see what he can find for free blueprints online. At first, all he can find are some generic, small floor plans, many with poor layouts. Then he takes the time to look up when copyrights expire and realizes he's looking in the wrong place. So he starts hunting down blueprints that are 140 YRS+, on the assumption that the average architect might live to age 70 and adding the additional 70 years it takes for a copyright on a blueprint to expire. He ends up digging into historical archives, which typically just save the more unique designs, but he finds everything from farmhouses to tiny houses to beach houses to self-storage warehouses. From famous mansions to office buildings to cat cafes. From public bathhouses to clinics and hospitals. Everything from individual boutiques to shopping malls to skyscrapers to schools of all kinds. He even finds quite a few designs for handicapped, mutant and other special needs people. Fortunately, Tochi knows enough to be able to reject the poorer designs, so he doesn't have to figure that out. That would have been a nightmare. Then he expands his search to other countries with open databases of old architecture. Now, among other things, he has the blueprints for various temples and cathedrals and shrines. What he'll do with those is beyond him, but he has them. After he's downloaded a couple hundred and feels like he has more blueprints than he'll ever know what to do with, Tochi warns him. Blueprints will have to be amended to match current building codes in order to be used. Huh? Can you do that on your own? Or do I need to actively learn more about architecture? He's not sure he'll ever have time to learn architecture, but he certainly can't afford a real architect. I can do it. Additionally, designs can be combined, downsized or expanded. He stares blankly at the screen as he digests this. Holy shit. Tochi is amazing. He has such an amazing quirk. Cool. Though it would probably be wise to purchase an actual elevator design that is currently up to code if you want to build large buildings. Escalators as well. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Elevators and escalators are kind of their own business thing. Can you actually build them if you have blueprints? Yes. It would be wise to download furniture blueprints as well. Right. I knew I was forgetting something. He glances at the time and winces. Maybe this weekend, though. I'm going to be falling asleep in classes tomorrow as it is. There is no hurry. Well, that's true. He turns off his computer and gets ready for bed, yawning as he does so. It only takes a couple moments for him to fall asleep once his head hits the pillow. You look tired but better than you have for the last few days, Tsu comments. He blinks at her. Yeah, I've been worried about you, Uraraka agrees. I've been concerned as well. The new classes aren't too much for you, are they? Yamamo asks. Oh, no. There was just this thing with the police while Mom and I were looking at properties, he explains awkwardly. Midoriya. You should stay out of trouble with the police. It could hurt your chances of becoming a hero. Ida opines from nearby, where he's sitting with his friends. Izuku looks him in the eye. At least I didn't go looking for trouble. I wasn't in trouble anyways. I just can't talk about it. I'm sure you know all about that. Ida's mouth opens and closes like a fish out of water. How did you know about that? It's not hard to figure out, he tells him flatly. Is there something we should know? Hagakure wonders. No, Ida says instantly. There's nothing. If you say so, man, Kaminari says dubiously, looking like he's thinking about prying. Suspicious, Mineta agrees. Izuku shrugs. Ida's a nice guy, but he blusters on about things that are none of his business. Just that those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. That sounds ominous, Uraraka comments. Agreed, Tsu says. Why are you so tired? Oh, that. Tochi and I downloaded a bunch of out-of-copyright blueprints for buildings. I feel accomplished, he explains. Tochi? Yamamo asks. My Quirk. Oh, that's a cute nickname. Uraraka exclaims. He thinks about explaining it's his actual name, but decides it's too much effort. Current quest list. He only has 2, but he should remind himself of the wording. Current quest log. Quest, learn about construction bids. Quest, learn to read, negotiate and write contracts. Quest, gain a second property. Izuku blinks several times at the top quest. Oh, I started on that one, but I forgot about it. He considers that for a moment. So basically a bid is the projected price of materials plus cost of projected LBR hours? Yes. But my LBR hours are basically non-existent, since you can build a building in a moment. Or in segments if your MP and STA are too low to cover the full building. Oh, cool. But if that's the case, I still need to come up with how much I expect to get paid for you building the building, right? I am your Quirk, so technically it is an expenditure of your MP and STA. Draining your MP nullifies your ability to use me for your own purposes and draining STA physically incapacitates you, so both are significant expenditures. Huh? I didn't think about that, he admits, thinking about it. Technically, we do the work of a full construction crew's efforts of weeks or months condensed into minutes or days. We deserve the pay of a full construction crew. Additionally, the shortened timeframe is of benefit to the client, so that may be worth extra. That's a very good point. And a pointed reminder that his Quirk has better self-esteem than he does, because he never would have considered that. He's no longer quirkless and society doesn't deem him worthless anymore. In fact, he's viewed as such an asset that the Yaoyorosis have invested in his future and he shouldn't underestimate the value of that. Obviously, if he's helping people rebuild their homes after a disaster, he doesn't need to charge that extra fee and probably shouldn't even demand the full fee of a construction crew, but the comments and actions of the building inspector and the Yaoyorosis have shown him that there is definitely a market for his Quirk's specialty outside of immediate disaster recovery. Don't Uraraka's parents have something to do with construction? Maybe she can help him with pricing. Though would she want to, seeing as he's basically competition? Tochi, theoretically what could I do to avoid outcompeting construction companies while simultaneously providing emergency housing to disaster zones? It can't hurt to ask. You could provide strips of 1DKs with the smallest floor plan and slowly take them down as people rebuild their own homes. Although I'm not sure where you'd build them. Possibly on public land? That might be a variable that depends on the area. Most humans would likely prefer to move to more spacious homes as soon as possible. Also, you should charge at least minimal rent for extended stays. That's ingenious. Thanks, Tochi. You are welcome. Yeah, I can do low rents for extended stays. Maybe keep them free for the first couple months while people get their feet back under them, he postulates. Have they fallen that hard? What? Then he realizes. Oh, no, I didn't mean that literally. It's a saying referring to financial stability. I see. Noted. That does seem reasonable. Okay, cool. Let's designate the smallest 1DK floor plan we have as emergency housing and alter it so that they're in strips or large multi-story apartment buildings. Unless we already have an apartment building like that. We do not. And one LDK apartment building on the smaller side is the closest we have. Easily done. Layout 1, tiny 1DK strip emergency housing, finished. Layout 2, tiny 1DK large multi-story apartment building emergency housing, finished. Layout 3, tiny 1DK small multi-story apartment complex emergency housing, finished. Oh, that's a good idea to have the third one too. Thanks, Tochi. You are welcome. It may be good to incorporate a few apartments that cater to various special needs requirements. Ah, why didn't I think of that? Can you alter the layouts or should we make alternative layouts, he queries. Layout 2 and 3 can easily have altered ground floor apartments. Layout 1 would require end units or a dedicated section or a whole strip being altered. Okay, then modify 2 and 3's ground floor apartments and give layout 1 a dedicated section. Altering for 1 large mutant, 1 small mutant, 1 deaf/blind, 1 dangerous emitter and 2 wheelchair accessible apartments per layout. Izuku facepalms. Right. Good call. Not all special needs are identical. And we can alter individual apartments on site if there's a request for something else. Notes section. Izuku Midoriya. Quirk, the Landlord. Level 12 Level 13. STR 16. Dex 17+1. Vit 32. Int 47+4. Wiz 44+1+2. MP 91 greater than 98 STA 33 of 34. HP 32 of 32. STP, 0. The +2 in level gain is from the paying off his parents' quest, +1 level, +1 WIS, +1 STP, while the other gains are from his time with Miss Bibbidi. Katsuki noticing the trauma reaction and categorizing it as mopey. TBF, he'd probably categorize it the same if it was his own trauma and reaction. When you talk to your quirk out loud and accidentally end up encouraging someone who's had a shit day. Japan has quite the subway system. Surprisingly, no big corporation has bought up the area and attempted to revitalize it or make it a business center/high-income area. It hasn't sold because no one wants to bid on it. I figure that happens sometimes when there's mass destruction of an area that isn't highly profitable to begin with and the current owners don't think it's worth even keeping the property. It's approximately 11 square blocks of shoddily torn down devastated properties spotted with the occasional rebuilt building not owned by the city. He might be able to get it for the price of paying off back property taxes. Still, I don't know if he should get the land or not. 10 years of back taxes on a tract that size is probably a shitload of money. And he only has materials to rebuild a fraction of that area. 8 office buildings worth does not rebuild 11 square blocks worth. He'd also probably have to get some of it rezoned. And find managers for any housing/business lots he doesn't sell outright. What do you think? Mass downloads. It's hard to find the databases with the blueprints for buildings that old, but the ones that exist have quite a few per database. I've added so many blueprint recipes to the list and it's just a fraction of what he downloads. He has some blueprints of famous buildings from all over the world, such as the Taj Mahal. Things he'll absolutely never use, some he may find surprising uses for. Friends and acquaintances expressing concern now that he looks less fragile. They kind of didn't know how to approach the sudden depression, not being too familiar with him and being unsure if he'd take the concern well or not. His tentative friends being Ochako, Tsu and Momo. Having a little more self-confidence than in canon, he didn't brush off Ida's unintentional rudeness as easily as in canon and they are more stiff acquaintances than friends. This is largely Ida's fault as he is a stiff-necked odd duck. Izuku is also entirely unimpressed with Ida brushing off his concern in favor of trying to commit suicide via serial killer. He didn't miss the police's assumption that the bodies he uncovered were the work of a serial killer, so it's a very easy connection between the two events in his mind. Normally he wouldn't call Ida out, but he feels distinctly victim-blamed at this precise moment and strikes out in perhaps unwarranted anger. Everyone else is torn between, spill the tea, and now I'm really concerned about whatever I missed going on here, and I'm kind of afraid to ask. Ida's friend group is Ojiro, Hagakure, Kaminari and Mineta. Kaminari because I hate that Canon has his friends calling him stupid and dunce face and at the very least, Ida would never do that. Mineta because he's buds with Kaminari, also not as creepy as Canon. Todoroki is still being a lone wolf, because the Canon Sports Festival conversations didn't happen. Tokoyami, Kuda, Sato and Shuji are the quiet boy group. Aoyama kind of flits between groups at the moment, mostly Ida's, Hagakure and Kaminari are positive about his flamboyance, and the quiet boy group, they're willing to let him talk and be fabulous. Shinso will show up eventually. A needed conversation. Unfortunately for Izuku, he has a lot to learn about how to make a good bid. There's more that goes into it than he thinks, plus he has to learn pricing on a lot of materials, wages, overhead, machinery, permits, quality control and profit margin. Fortunately for him, Tochi can do the materials calculations for him once he knows the pricing and the further calculations for the other things once he has a ballpark for pricing them. He wants to be a hero, not a construction company, so he's not aiming to undercut any competitors' prices. Instead, he's aiming to charge more than his competition, based on A, guaranteed quality and more notably B, short turnaround time for building. He honestly doesn't expect very many people to want to pay the extra and distract him from hero work. Though he may find himself surprised on that count, given that old saw time is money. Plus the whole hero society shtick, where having a building built by a hero would be a brag point. Knowing the costs of materials, permits and inspections will be useful for his own properties as well. Though fortunately he has a lot of materials that he can reformat from legal salvage, a little under 8 office buildings worth, and from the beach/dump, a lot of metal, glass and plastic from dumped appliances and vehicles, etc., which will cut his own costs to nearly nil other than for some gadgetry such as elevator designs and deaf doorbells, which Tochi doesn't have and thus he will need to buy up to current standard blueprints for if he wants to do large buildings and or specialized units. Also realize that he's 15 and a fairly normal kid other than his supposed quirklessness, so he doesn't have a good understanding of the range of special needs out there. And honestly, other than the most obvious special needs, in a residential disaster zone, which is where he presumes that he'll be doing most of his building, catering to special needs is beyond the scope of immediate disaster relief. He'll most likely revisit his plans multiple times as he learns things in UA and on internships or through self-study. Not least that 1DKs won't work for families larger than 2 or 3 max, haha. LDKs are apartments with living room, dining room and kitchen. DKs are apartments with only a dining room and kitchen, often combined into one room. The number indicates the number of bedrooms. Yes, I did have to go back and track what I did with various quests to find out where I was with the stats, haha. The third quest is definitely going to be the least LBR intensive for him, despite the legwork and paperwork involved. Hey, jail cell-kun. Mind if I sit here? Wadash? Izuku looks up to see the purple-haired Gen Ed student smirking down at him. Oh, sure. Go right ahead. The smirk falters for a second and then the boy sits down. I'm Shinso. Midoriya, Izuku replies. You did pretty well in the sports festival. Shinso grimaces. Not well enough. I didn't get past the second round in the finals. If I'd won, they would have transferred me to heroics. Izuku tilts his head. Hasn't Aizawa-sensei been training you, though? How do you know about that? He has. I just feel like it's pointless sometimes. People will never look past my quirk, Shinso admits. I'm surprised you're even talking to me after me using it on you. Some kind of mind control, right? You didn't need to use it on me. I would have joined you if you just asked, but if you're used to bad reactions, you wouldn't have known that. Honestly, I think you'll make a great hero. Do you have any idea how many uses your quirk has for heroics? I can think of a lot. Hostage negotiations, calming people in disasters, and if you can get people to talk under your quirk, then you could potentially get information out of criminals without them having any idea that you did. I mean, there might be ethics issues with that and you'd have to find hard evidence to back it up for a trial, but if you were involved with an investigation that was time-sensitive and there were no other leads, it would be a godsend. There are all kinds of investigations like that. Plus, you could stop a fight that was going badly with just words, he enthuses. The purple-haired boy just stares at him. You don't think it's a villain's quirk? No? Last time I checked, quirks don't make decisions for people. Unless your quirk is sentient like Tokoyami's and mine, he asks. Shinso blinks at him. No, it's not sentient, he admits. Your quirk is sentient? Yamamo slides into the seat on Shinso's left side, while Uraraka sits next to Izuku and Tsu sits on Shinso's right side. I'll admit, I wondered if your quirk was sentient, Yamamo confesses. Well, duh. It's sentient, Uraraka says. All gamer quirks are to some extent. And Midoriya's definitely is, because it values money. Tsu observes, I think that's an overgeneralization and a big assumption to make. Izuku flushes at the sudden attention. Yeah. His name is Tochi and you know those building games? He's kind of like that, only more realistic. He's not real talkative, though, so it took me a while to figure out that he is sapient like Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow is the bird shadow that threw me out of the ring? Shinso clarifies. Yeah, Izuku answers easily. Then shouldn't your quirk have been able to act against me? Shinso asks in puzzlement. Then he startles as a bright pink screen appears in front of him. You meant no harm, so I saw no need. Good thing you didn't mean him harm, Tsu comments bluntly. I guess so, Shinso agrees, looking a little pale. You're from Gen Ed, right? Uraraka asks. He is, but Aizawa-sensei is training him so he can get into the hero course. Izuku answers for him. How cool is that? Very cool, Karo, Tsu says. What's your name? Shinso. Call me Tsu. You poor soul, Uraraka gives Shinso a sympathetic look. Aizawa-sensei is sadistic. I'm Uraraka. Yamamo laughs a little. He just expects the best from us. You can call me Yamamo, because my last name is hard to pronounce. Shinso looks between them with a confused expression. Both are true, Izuku clarifies. Agreed, Karo. The purple-haired boy nods slowly. He is a tough teacher. I'm not sure about sadistic, though. Izuku raises his brows. DMN, he must really like you, then. First day of school he showed up fully ready to expel anyone who slacked off. I'm pretty sure he would have enjoyed doing it, too. Uraraka makes a noise of agreement. Yeah, he threatened to expel us if we got last place after Ashido said using our quirks would be fun. And then he claimed it was a logical ruse to get us to do our best. Yamamo agreed with that, but Midoriya's quirk told him differently. To this day, none of us know who's right. Well, Tochi's been able to discern mood and intentions before, so I'm pretty sure he was right, Izuku defends. Yamamo shrugs delicately. I still think he only meant to motivate us, which it did quite nicely. But on the other hand, Aizawa-sensei never said who was right when Midoriya objected. Karo. I think he would have expelled us, but I think it would have come from a place of care. Aizawa-sensei almost died saving my life at the USJ, Tsu opines. It makes sense. If heroes slack off, people die. Shinso listens with an odd expression. So you don't know if he was serious about expelling someone and you don't agree on whether he's sadistic or not? Correct, Karo. No. He absolutely likes riling people up to expect the worst, Uraraka objects. Remember how he announced that the sports festival was going to be held? You have a point, Yamamo admits. True, Tsu agrees. I just think it's because he doesn't want us to underestimate heroics and what events like the sports festival can do for our careers. How did he announce the sports festival? Shinso asks curiously. Uraraka points her chopsticks at him rudely. By telling us our battle wasn't over yet. I swear to Kami that we all were convinced those insane villains were coming after us again until he got done being dramatic and explained. DMN, Shinso looks mildly impressed. He's so blunt, I would have never taken him for a trickster. I'll have to ask for tips. Izuku snickers, amused at his new friend. He'll probably love that. Or be mortified. One never quite knows with adults. Instead of downloading furniture recipes, Izuku decides to scavenge more materials from the trash beach. Depressingly, more trash has been dumped at Dagobah since he cleaned half of it, but he supposes that's the nature of people. This time, because his MP is higher, he's able to clean up the half he hadn't gotten to last time along with the new stuff that has been dumped since before his MP and STA are too low to continue. He even levels up salvage a couple times. It's a shame, really. There's a lot of stuff that could have been sold or donated to thrift stores instead of dumped. Though it does mean he has recipes for a lot of random furniture pieces, most of it isn't in sets. Of course, Tochi can make copies of kitchen chairs if there's one missing, but if the set is missing a table then he either has an uncompleted set or a mismatched set. Some of the appliances probably still work, but Tochi doesn't automatically know how to fix a broken appliance without instructions, so they're mainly just junk to be broken down into components. There's not as many random vehicle parts on this half of the beach, but there is still a fair number. Junkyards exist for a reason and so do dumps. And then there's the true trash. So much trash. Don't these people know what dumpsters are for? He treats himself to ice cream once he's done. Hopefully the locals will keep the beach clean now that the junk is gone, even if he doesn't have high hopes for it. Sad, since Dagobah truly is a pretty beach now that it's clean. Ano, Shimizu-san? I saw a number with the City Land Bureau offering acreage. Do you know anything about that? He asks the realtor on Monday. She looks startled. Well, my agency doesn't represent any city-held land, but I can look into it for you if you're interested in purchasing some. What area was it in? In that demolished area between Buspin subway station and Jaku station. A villain damaged the tracks, so I had to walk through the area and I saw a sign. I have the number written down, if it'll help, he offers. Sure, that should help, she agrees. I'll get back to you on it. She gets back to them on Wednesday. So, the good news on the city-held land is that it's for sale for the low price of 10 years back taxes. It's actually within your price range. The bad news is that you're the first person to express any interest in the area and you're going to have a hard time convincing them to not sell it all as one plot, which would be a mess, because it has several different zoning areas and there's also privately owned properties scattered across it. Not a lot, but enough, she greets them. Another issue is that if you want to have an area of it rezoned, you're going to have to convince the city planning department. If you're really interested in the land, we'll have to go down to the city land bureau and take a look at the maps. I'm sure you already know that there's nothing left on any of the plots for sale. Yeah, I do. And I am interested. I mean, not in all of it, but in part of it. Can we go down there today? He asks. Shimizu-san and Mom exchange looks, then his mom shrugs. Might as well. Goodness knows that the properties in our price range aren't going to be much better. The bad news is that Shimizu-san is completely right about them wanting to sell the area as one, slightly holy, tract of land. The employees take one look at his mom and quite obviously decide that she's a sucker. Shimizu-san tries to run interference, but they eventually convince his mom that taking the entire thing is a good investment. She looks at him and asks, "What do you think, honey?" He groans and rubs a hand over his face. "Only part of it. I don't have resources to develop that much land, and for Cammy's sake, I'm neither a businessman nor a construction firm. I'm a hero student. I don't have time to do that much." Fortunately, she decides to put her foot down on his behalf. "We'll take a half of it and no more." The employees look disappointed, but concede. Then he has to choose which half they're going to buy, which is still way too much land. He was thinking more like 1 block, but what can you do? And he ends up choosing the south half, which conveniently has fewer privately owned properties in it. It's still a mess of zoning, however, which he could go buy, but the area wasn't very profitable before its destruction, or it would have been rebuilt quickly, and he really doesn't want to recreate a poorly designed local economy. So rezoning it is. He wonders if Yamamo or Uraraka would have any input. Maybe he can just look at successful areas of the city and see how their zoning works. Or you could ask the city planning office if they have ideas. Or that. Izuku finishes explaining his dilemma to his friends. Shinso scoffs. "Don't look at me. I've got zero knowledge or interest in civic planning." Uraraka nods. "My parents just build stuff for people who hire them. I have no idea how zoning should work for a healthy community." "So, you think that putting up empty business buildings is unlikely to work, am I correct?" Yamamo posits. "Yeah. There's literally no reason for a business to want to be there," he agrees. "Then you need something that will act as a draw. I'm not sure what, though." She looks thoughtful. "How about a park?" Tsu suggests. They all look at her. "Why a park?" "Well, you want to put housing in and you don't think the business-zoned areas should be zoned like that. A park would be a good buffer between the still existing businesses south of your property and the houses that you want to put in." She puts a finger to her lips contemplatively. "And parks are a draw for residents. Or, if you don't want to totally shut out businesses, you could do a park with street vendor zoning," Shinso suggests, despite his earlier objection to helping. "Like at the entrance or in the center. Then you'd have food and recreation as a draw. Oh, you could even put a tea house on the property away from the street vendors," Yamamo adds with mild enthusiasm. "You could even put a daycare or primary school next to the park," Tsu points out. "That's very mixed zoning, but it could work. It honestly sounds like an ingenious solution. If he can convince the city planners to allow it. Thanks, guys. I'll try and get that approved." "It sounds like a great idea," he tells them sincerely. The City Planning and Development Office has a young staff, which is unusual. There's only one person talking to one of the staff, going over a piece of paper. Izuku and Inko approach the main desk. "Hello?" "Hello, ma'am. How can we help you?" a young lady asks politely. His mom beams. "I recently bought a fairly large chunk of property on my son's behalf and we need to get it rezoned." She raises an eyebrow. "On your son's behalf?" "Yes, he has a building quirk. Of course, my husband and I are still his guardians, but he manages his property well enough that he's paid us back for the first one we bought him," his mom explains. The clerk gives him a look of consideration. "How large are we talking about?" "From XXXX west to XXXX, south to XXXX and east to XXX, Izuku tells her. Her eyes widen. "Name? Inko and Hisashi Midoriya for Izuku Midoriya," his mom says. She types something into a computer and double-checks the street numbers with them before clicking on something, and somewhere in the back a printer starts up. "Let me get you a couple people to work with." They're sent over to a secondary desk with more counter space than the main desk, and a couple young men come over with a large map that they unroll to show his property, with several small pieces blacked out for belonging to other owners. "All right, show us what you're thinking here," the black-haired one with the name tag reading Kaibe instructs and hands Inko a pen. She hands it to Izuku, who leans over the map and outlines the north 10.5 by 3 blocks and 2 by 1 sections bracketing the north end of where he wants to put the park and writes residential in that area. Then he outlines the 3x3 section on the south side that slots between the two 4x1 sections to the north, leaving two 4x2 sections, one to either side of the park. He writes business in those two sections and then outlines the middle square of the park, labeling the outer square park and the inner square yatai, and makes walkways that radiate in the four cardinal directions from the inner square to the outside of the park. Then he makes a small square in one corner of the park and labels it Tea House. He writes marks the East 5x3 North End blocks business too, because there's some existing smaller businesses along those blocks. I can see where you're coming from with the residential, and the park is a great idea. The street vendor zoning in the middle is a nice touch. I'd say you'll need to move the tea house from the park into the nearby business zone, if it gets zoned business. What kinds of businesses were you thinking? The brown-haired Taraba asks. Actually, I don't know. I was hoping small businesses would want to move in once the housing and park are in place, Izuku admits, scratching out the tea house square and putting another square to the direct east of the park and labeling it tea house instead. And I wanted to ask if there were things the city needs put in place in those areas. That's not a bad idea, Kaiba agrees. Taraba, can you bring that up on the monitor? Izuku belatedly realizes that there's a huge monitor on the wall of the cubicle. Sure. Taraba brings up a city map spangled with symbols for public services and then zooms into focus on the ward, and Taraba and Kaiba study it for a few minutes. Fire station, police station, and hospital? Kaiba posits. Yeah. They had a police/fire station that got flattened along with a small clinic. There's a small clinic southeast but nothing north or west. This is pretty central to the ward, so it would be a good place for them. I'm guessing the wards north and south are covering for fire, hospitalization, and police, but it's not ideal, Taraba agrees. They look at Izuku. What do you think? Well, I don't want them right up against the park, but I could sell the city land for them if you show me where you want to put them. Or I could build the structures and then sell it. Right now the area is low property value, but that should start to change once I get some housing put in and sold. I'm fine with selling it for a reasonable price, but do I do that through this office or the land office? Izuku offers. You got a license for quirk use? Mizuno did mention you have a building quirk, Kaiba asks. This office is fine, Taraba tells him cheerfully. Oh, not yet. I've just been using it on private land, he admits. Yeah, I figured. Unfortunately, we can't do that with public services buildings. It needs to be built by licensed contractors or a licensed quirk user, Kaiba explains. Makes sense, Izuku agrees. It's honestly fine with him. Oh, also, is this area covered by a hero agency? Let me check, Taraba says, fiddling with the computer. Aha. No, actually. It's deemed low crime and isn't covered at all. Not saying that the crime rate will go up, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to build an agency and rent it out, if you wanted to go that way. How about this area for a hospital? Kaiba asks, outlining the 2x1 block area most southeast. We could put the fire department here. He indicates the block just north of the eastern half of the hospital area. Probably shouldn't put the police so close to the hospital, though. That's just asking for trouble. Izuku HMMNS. Yeah, that works for me. Here. Taraba outlines a 1x1.5 block area in the southwest corner. It's as far as you can get from both the park and the hospital. You could place a hero agency within a couple blocks of it. That works. Izuku draws a box in the southeast corner of the block 2 blocks east of the police area and labels it hero agency. How about here? Looks good. Might want to add parking next to it. He obediently adds parking to the southwest corner. Do I make the park myself or do I sell the land to the city, he wonders. You can do either, since it's not a building, Kaiba tells him. You can get a loan for the materials if you want to have a private park. Or you can build it and then sell it to the city. We're always here. If you do it yourself, you might consider putting in restrooms and an amphitheater for musicians, Taraba adds. Quest, obtain loan and build park. Quest, sell park to city once built. I guess I'll do that, then, Izuku says after reading the pain. Did your quirk say something, honey? His mom inquires. Yeah. It wants me to build the park and then sell it to the city, he admits. Is there anything else I should put in? My friend mentioned a school. Let me check on that, Taraba says and starts fiddling with the computer again. You could put an art gallery next to the tea house and talk one of the local art schools into displaying works there, Kaiba suggests unexpectedly. How about a grocery store, honey? His mom proposes. I think a small one would be fine, given that you're going to have a large yatai area nearby, but people definitely don't eat out for every meal. He likes both ideas, so he scratches in a box next to the tea house and labels it art gallery, then goes to the block directly west of the park and scratches in a box labeled grocery store in the southeast quarter of it. Looks like there's already a primary and elementary school in the ward, but you could put in a preschool or daycare, Taraba observes. Daycare you can keep private. Preschool you'd have to sell us the land. I'd also recommend a couple cafes, one near the hospital and one near the police and hero agency. And a doctor's office complex near the hospital. Izuku considers, then marks in the northeast corner of the same block and labels it preschool. He marks in a cafe across from the police station, then hesitates. Where would you put the doctor's offices? Kaiba taps the block west of the hospital and Izuku marks the whole block as doctor offices. Then he hesitates again, trying to figure out the logistics of where to put a second cafe. Trying to figure out a cafe? If you make it a cat cafe, you could stick it next to the art gallery. Otherwise, I'd stick it in the corner between the fire department and hospital, Kaiba offers. Oh, a cat cafe, his mom enthuses. Well, that was an easy decision. Izuku marks a cat cafe in next to the art gallery. The remaining sliver of space looks tiny, but given the size of the blocks, he knows it's actually quite large and probably more than one store can fit into the space. He probably made the boxes too big, but he can only write so small. Also, these buildings will probably have second stories, which will double the available space. That should be enough for now, given that I doubt you have experience getting businesses to set up in a given space, Kaiba says. We'll send you bids for those 4 properties. You should get them in the mail by next week. We'll get the zoning changed now. There's just some forms to fill out. All right, thank you, Inko replies. Taraba clears his throat. I think we should go with dual zoning for business and housing instead of just business. It's not uncommon for hero agencies to have people sleep overnight if there's extra shifts to pick up, and cat cafes prefer to have someone on the premises, for instance. Also, businesses often avoid moving in too close to the police, hospital and fire station, so you might have to put in housing instead if no one's buying. Having emergency services and a hero agency nearby will be a draw for housing, unlike businesses. Oh, is that a normal problem? His mom asks. We've never done this before. It is, Kaiba tells them. It varies to some extent, and I think having the hero agency so close to the police station will actually encourage businesses to move in on those 2 blocks. Putting in a cafe early should help too. You might actually have more problems with the hospital/fire station adjacent blocks. Part of it is a noise issue and part of it is just that people don't look for businesses near those kinds of services, so it might be harder for them to get established. A diner or cafe should do decently once those are up and running, though. From the staff wanting something besides hospital food and the firemen wanting a good meal that they don't have to cook themselves. Don't worry about that now, though. Get the park done and put some housing in before you start up any businesses. It'll make the area less barren and forbidding. If you start the businesses up beforehand, they might go under from lack of customers willing to traverse the area in its current state, Taraba cautions. Inko nods. Okay, dual zoning sounds good, then. Thank you for the advice. Yes, thank you, Izuku agrees. You've been a lot more helpful than the guys at the land office. Kaiba scoffs. Oh, those fuckers. Taraba grimaces. I wondered how you ended up with this much land when you're not experienced entrepreneurs. They convinced Mom to buy half the area up because it's a better bargain, Izuku tells them with a hint of bitterness. It is. And I only bought half of it, his mom defends. I know. I'm glad you only bought half of it, Izuku concedes. Kaiba and Taraba trade looks, then Kaiba speaks up. I hate to tell you this, Midoriya-san, but Midoriya-kun is right. If this was 2 years ago, before the fossils in this office set off the mayor and got replaced, you wouldn't have been able to get rezoned so easily and you'd have gotten zero help with planning. You'd be looking at a minimum of a year fighting with this office to get things rezoned and stuck with a white elephant in the meantime. If they had decided that the city needed some of this land for emergency services, they'd have picked the most inconvenient plot and basically strong-armed you into selling for an outrageously low price. They'd also have insisted that Midoriya-kun couldn't build without a Quirk license, even on his own property. They might have insisted on a few other licenses too. Even though it's perfectly legal to use one's Quirk on one's own property. So, you'd be looking at how many ever years it took Midoriya-kun to get a Quirk license and possibly other licenses on top of that instead of just building permits. As it is, you're going to have to invest a fair bit of money to get the park done and the businesses started, so bargain is a bit of a misnomer if you don't have that money. I'd say at minimum, you're going to need to take out a couple loans to deal with what Midoriya-kun has decided on so far. His mom winces and wilts a little. I guess they weren't that nice, after all. Those fuckers wouldn't know nice if it bit them. It's not your fault, though, Taraba grumbles. I'll go get the zoning change papers. It takes a full hour for his mom to sign all the necessary papers and for an updated zoning map to be printed out for them to take home with them. Then they go over and get building permits for the park area and the 3x1 block area directly north of it, which takes even longer. Considering that he plans on putting in 2- and 3-story skinny houses in the area, it's a lot of permits and the cost adds up quickly. His mom actually apologizes to him for underestimating what developing the area would cost, and he has to reassure her that she didn't actually do anything wrong, even if he would have preferred to be working with a smaller area. It's not like he can blame her. He's not planning on furnishing the houses before he sells them, so she probably thought the costs would be minimal given his quirk. She's not easily convinced, though, so eventually he diverts her by getting her to promise to take him there during after-school hours to start cleaning up the area. If nothing else, it'll give him more materials and make the area look less like a war zone. Hopefully it'll also speed up the city developing the plots that they're buying and get the area looking less barren sooner.
Okay, sadly the chapter is over. And if you enjoyed the video, just leave a like and subscribe with post notification, so when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.